Recording in progress.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Yarmouth Select Board meeting of August 25th, 2026. I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session. We will return to public session after at approximately 6 p.m. So the Yarmouth Select Board will consider entering into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with the police union, and Section 21A6 to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property at 544 Route 28 West Yarmouth, if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiation position of the public body, of which I so declare. Is there a
Second?
roll call vote? All those in favor? Mark?
Aye.
Dorcas?
Aye. Aye. Argo, aye.
Aye. So we are now in executive session. We will return to public session approximately at 6 p.m.
Recording stop.
I'm liking what I hear.
Well, he was very complimentary of you.
Of me?
Yes, he was.
was.
He had very good things to say about
I
you.
owe you
Great job.
some notes, but
That's what I hear, and I said
it's worth
thank
even-
him
yeah,
for
worrying
training you
about.
so well.
I'm going to talk about this during comments. I have to leave to another meeting.
okay.
Oh, okay, thank
Oh,
you.
good. I was going to make a comment about that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Jesus, look at all the frickin' people.
Oh, really? Keep up. They're in my office every other day.
Holy Toledo. These are the folks that want a dirt road?
The dirt road.
They want to keep the dirt road?
No, they want a pavement. And wait till the dirt road people find out. They're gonna-
Recording in progress.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Yarmouth Select Board meeting of August 25th. We are coming back from executive session. We are in public session now. If everybody would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, and if everybody would please join me in a brief moment of silence to remember and reflect upon all of our service members serving in harm's way this evening.
Apologies, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. We're going to get right into our announcements. Is there anybody who has any announcements tonight? Yes, Mary, thank you.
Good evening, Mary Maslowski, Town Clerk. Just a friendly reminder that we are still in the in-person early voting period for Tuesday's September 1st state primary. Voting will continue here in this room, 8:30 to 4:30, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. Anyone who cannot attend the election on Tuesday and still wishes to vote may do so at the counter at the Town Clerk's office until 12 noon on Monday. That is the hard deadline. Anyone who needs an absentee ballot. And then just a friendly reminder, Tuesday is the election. Polls are open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Is there any Bob, do you have any announcements?
No announcements tonight?
Mark?
Nope.
Dorcas? Joyce?
Yes, I'm going to be having Monday morning early bird office hours. This is going to go until November 1st, because I'll see whether people actually show up. It's going to be at a picnic table in Wings Neck Grove, on Long Pond, on the southern shore of Long Pond. The park doesn't open till 8, so the office hours will be 8 to 9. Every Monday except the Monday holidays. And we can all have a quiet Monday holiday.
Liz, you have any announcements?
Yes, and I'm doing my regular office hours, which are every third Thursday at 3 at the Senior Center, and so the next one is September 17th. Come to the Senior Center at 3 o'clock on September 17th. Let me know what needs you have, complaints, and of course compliments. We always like to hear those too. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move into our public comment section. Yes, Chris, please.
Good evening. My name's Christine Greeley. I'm from West Yarmouth. I also serve as the representative from Yarmouth to the Gateway Airport Commission. And I'm here tonight just to bring out into the public and to talk very clearly about the importance of September 16th at 6 p.m. at Barnstable High School. It is at that time that there is finally, after decades, progress now in having a noise roundtable held by the commission. There will be various people there answering questions, things like that. But one of the important things, and I'm hoping that it can go out in some notice from the town, will be that there is a website, and I have actually put it on your paper there, about the noise abatement possibility that you can go in on the website ahead of the meeting and list your complaints and concerns. And I'd like to really urge people to show up, to share this information with your friends and your neighbors, because this has been an ongoing concern for decades. I mean, I've been involved with this since the 1980s. And so as a consequence, we know very little progress has been made. And there are a lot of concerns about the health issues of noise. There's new studies and research on that. Also, the fact that so many of the planes flying in there are in and out are actually small aircraft, and the particulates from that. I mean, we've been worried about PFAS, but there's actually particulates from jet fuel and that engine fuel that falls. And so you were getting a lot of contamination, and particularly around very crowded areas now that more and more building is taking place. So it's a major concern. And so I urge people to please come. It will be available either by Zoom or in person at 6 p.m. on September 16th at Barnstable High School. The second thing I was just going to make a brief comment is that I noticed that on your agenda you will be talking about your board's goals for the coming year. And I wanted to thank you very much for seeing that there is an item on there that talks about the airport and Yarmouth's role in having a conversation. Because basically 2 of the runways on the end sides of both 1533 and 324 are actually in Yarmouth. Basically, they're flying over Yarmouth, and yet we get no revenue from it or anything that goes on, and have really no say in terms of what's happening there and how it's impacting our community. So thank you very much. I don't know if you have any questions.
I do, Chris. What you submitted to us today has an email address, but what is the website?
The website is right there, and I don't have a copy of it in front of me. What does it say? Can you read it?
There's an address, and we also have our press release going out is that the email address is where all the questions are forwarded to.
So just go to the
The
email.
noise,
Go to
yeah.
the
Okay,
email.
there's not a website.
Now, there is a website there. Can someone read it? It's in your paper. Somebody can read it
Not
better.
on
I
here,
feel
Chris.
it's in
That's what
pale
I'm saying.
We have the email.
Noise Roundtable at flyhya.com.
That's what I thought.
The email.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where people can put public comments and concerns in now before the meeting. They can also come to the meeting to have questions and other concerns addressed. We've got some very active citizens here in Yarmouth who have actually been attending the Airport Commission meetings, because I represent the whole town. They're representing their neighborhoods. And so that they've been coming and really pointing out some of the major issues that are going on there and what the impact is on their lives and their homes. And so, as I said, I urge everybody to put September 16th, 6 p.m. in your calendars. It's not a Board of Selectmen, a Select Board meeting that night, so you're lucky. You can come too. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for all you do, Chris.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
He's always working.
Oh, look at the moving man.
Yeah, it's not a good shot. Can't see people.
Thanks, Paul. Excellent.
Don't let him leave.
Good evening.
Good evening. Alvaro Rodriguez, Precinct 4. I've prepared some comments. They're brief, less than 3 minutes.
Great.
First, I would like to thank the Select Board to place the issue of developing Forest Road on the agenda. No issue could be more important to the health and welfare of its residents. As you are aware, the town meeting of 1985, which transferred the Forest Road property to the Yarmouth Housing Authority, was specifically for the development of 30 units of elderly housing not affordable family housing. At the meeting in 1985, the article for transferring property was initially indefinitely postponed. And that was because of the concerns that were expressed about nitrogen increases in the town wells fed from this property. The shame is that in the late stages of the meeting, the selectmen noticed that most of the voters who had advocated postponement had left the meeting. A motion to reintroduce the article was made, and this article was then passed. This maneuver might be a common tactic, but it is morally bankrupt. This is the epitome of anti-democracy. The damage this project will do to the health and human life and our environment is documented and undisputed. The Forest Road property is in the zone of contribution to 4 town wells, which having the highest levels of nitrogen on Cape Cod. This land also feeds the Parkers River estuary, which will require a 96% reduction in nitrogen. The forever chemicals, PFAS, will also flow into this estuary, contaminating all marine creatures, including shellfish. In addition, the proposed property will also add approximately 23 million gallons. I'm going to repeat that again. 23 million gallons of water annually to the water table, which will then further aggravate the severe flooding problems in the Captain's Village, which is extensive, and the surrounding areas, not just Captain Village, but the surrounding areas. Finally, 3 separate articles passed at town meeting in 2011, 2012, and 2013 against any development of this property. Certainly, the Select Board cannot ignore the will of the people and must vote against any proposal to develop this land. Thank you.
Thank you, Elvio. Hi, Christine. Your applause, please. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Christine Marzigliano, Precinct 7. I'd like to address regarding the Select Board 2026 priority goals. The 2023 Open Space and Recreation Plan in Section 8, Goals and Objectives, discusses open space properties for recreation, natural resource protection, conservation land, wetlands restoration, water quality, etc. Page 122. Section 8.2, goal number 2 is expand the amount of open space and conservation land. Objective 2A is identify and preserve land for natural resource protection, drinking water protection, passive recreation, quality of life, and aesthetics. Identify and pursue opportunities to acquire new open space properties through purchases, donations, tax delinquencies, and other means. The Select Board goals do not include this goal in the proposed draft. I would like to suggest that the following goal number 6, an additional goal following the goals, reflecting the OSRP 8.2 goal number 2, be included in the 2026 goals. We are in a drought, and every parcel of land that we set aside protects our drinking water. New acquisitions do not need to be maintained, but merely set aside to protect our future. Please consider adding this goal to the 26 priority goals list. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Yes, sir. Ma'am, please. Good evening.
Hello, my name is Cynthia Marlin. I'll take less than a minute.
Cynthia, you live in Yarmouth?
I do, South
Okay.
Yarmouth. Good evening to the board and fellow community members. I thank you for having me. While I've attended meetings before, I have not taken the opportunity to speak in the past. I don't take this opportunity lightly, and I assure you I won't speak long. My husband and I moved just down the street 20 years ago this November, having vacationed in Dennis for a decade beforehand. We left jobs that we loved and families behind in order to settle on this magnificent peninsula. As a nurse, I've worked at Cape Cod Healthcare for nearly 18 years, and my husband ran a business here on the Cape prior to his retirement 5 years ago. While we know we will forever be known as Washer Shores, this is home, and those around us are family. We love our work and make it a priority to support our local businesses regularly. We came for the quiet, the community. We came for the trees, the beach, watching the foxes, owls, and yes, coyotes and rabbits, wildlife we'd never seen. We moved from New York, having lived in the city, Queens, and Long Island. And while we loved where we were born and raised for those 35 plus years of our lives, we don't want to move back there. And without packing a box, that's exactly what we're doing. We are turning into a busy, resource-deprived, overdeveloped suburb. From our backyard, we are watching the trees get cut down, the water is drying up, the wildlife and their habitats are being completely disregarded and discarded without even a second thought, and the old-school family businesses are being replaced by yet another pharmacy, and whoever thought we'd be building a Taco Bell on Station Avenue. This is Long Island, or closer to home, Jamaica Plain, Braintree, Lowell. All I really wanted to say is that clear-cutting the land, displacing and essentially killing the wildlife, polluting and drying up what's left of the water to build houses in a satiated area is only satisfying a builder's greed and perhaps, dare I say, a political gain. As an orthopedic nurse, I always told my patients to protect your knees, as you'll miss them when they're gone. Maybe we should consider doing that for our water and our trees. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Hi, my name's Jeffrey Smith, and I want to dovetail on what was just said.
You a resident of Yarmouth, Mr. Smith?
Yarmouthport, yes.
Yep, go ahead.
Yep. And my middle name is Sargent, and my brother was a selectman, Peter. I'm his older brother. And so the reason I'm here is I'm responsible for Conservation Trust at Perch Pond. My grandfather, Frank Sargent, established the Boy Scout camp in the 40s. So there's a tremendous, he also was involved in the Rod and Gun Club. What I'm here for is the alarming destruction of the corridor between the landfill and Dennis Pond. 7 ponds are part of the Dennis Pond complex. They all involve children's camps, Dennis Pond, Kids Beach, the ponds that are the botanical gardens, part of the historical property, Camp Greeno, and Camp Wingate on Elijah Pond. And this was apparently done without notice. I'm in a butter. The only, in responsible for that conservation trust, the only notice we received was when the job boss, when you would ask him what's going on, which I did many times, he would hand me a sheet from Department of Transportation and say, the state has a right to cut this 82-foot corridor. The amount of damage, I think, is equal to what might have happened in Hurricane Bomb. Who knows? There's old growth, swamp maple, massive old growth. And I say old growth, I mean second or third growth, but trees that had not been cut for 100+ years. They have now been cut right to the water line. On Little Greeno and Big Greeno, they cut right down to the shoreline. Now I think everyone received the photographs in the letter I sent. I'm absolutely dismayed, and like a lot of people, I'm heartbroken. It's, you can't replace 100-year-old trees. And this corridor is 7 ponds in 6 areas. Why Perch Pond is a conservation site is because it's a bookend, as it was described, from Dennis Pond back. Actually, the bookend is Elijah Pond, to be fair. The idea of doing what happened without notice, without public comment, talk about violating the democracy and getting input from the people that are most affected, none of that occurred. I think, if I understand it correct, the town didn't know what was happening until it was underway. And to me, that to be blindsided like this is just unthinkable. So I'm asking if this can be on the agenda. I don't expect that we can resolve this tonight. I would just like it to be on the agenda. And I'm in touch with various people, including Julian Sear. I want to take it to the governor as well. But they did this harm, and people looking at the pictures, it's absolutely shocking. And it created a desert corridor where it once was. And it's a train that goes 15 miles an hour from the dump. It's like, really? Is there a high-speed rail going in? I mean, because it's incredible.
Well, I appreciate your comments, and thank you. I did receive your letter. I'm sure the board received your letter. As you know, it was nothing that the town did.
I know, I totally understand.
Can't discuss it tonight because it's not on our agenda, but we'll talk about whether or not we'll make it an agenda item to discuss.
That's what I would, I just like to have discourse in the town and have it as an agenda item, because I think it has deeply upset a number of people. In terms of family investment, there's no profit in creating a conservation trust. This was done on principle. And my grandfather's father set up the Boy Scout camp after the Civil War, just for some deep history. And my grandfather was doing this in the middle of World War II. And West Yarmouth and Pine Street with a dead end back in the day. You couldn't get across the Cape. And so it's precious. I heard about the forest.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off, but we got to move
You
on.
probably should. I talk too much anyways. I'm notorious. Anyways, thank
I'm
you.
sorry, I know you're passionate about it, but
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Smith. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is David Deacon. I live at 62 Old Hyannis Road in Yarmouthport, and wanted to speak to the board about something in our neighborhood that's been an issue for a while. First, I would like to thank you for all your work you do in the town of Yarmouth, and especially the June 20th beautiful monument and event honoring the 447 heroes and their families during the American Revolution from Yarmouth. And as a member of the SAR, I thank you.
Thank you.
Second, I would like to discuss an issue with our neighborhood for the past 7 years. There is an outdated select board policy from more than 26 years ago, before our neighborhood of 18-plus houses were built on Old Hyannis Road. The gravel road section of town-approved Summer Street is only maintained twice a year by this board's policy from 1989. It is filled with potholes, deep craters, making it undrivable for most of the year. Because of this, we are forced to drive down the entire length of Summer Street to 6A, to one of the most dangerous intersections on 6A in Yarmouth. We feel trapped by not being able to use a short public road and way in town-approved road that is not drivable. Instead, we have to drive almost 4 miles to go all the way around Willow Street, all the way around to the Willow Street intersection of Summer Street. This is the only town-approved road that is not paved in the entire town of Yarmouth. It is also designated a scenic road that no one can see because of the hundreds of potholes on the scenic gravel road. We realized that a long time ago, almost 40 years ago in 1989, the residents of Summer Street created a petition to keep this road undrivable to reduce traffic in their neighborhood. They feared and believed that paving the road, although hypothetically and not based on fact, would increase traffic. Unfortunately, it has the opposite effect, requiring the 30-plus drivers plus visitors to our neighborhood and all of the Dennis Pond visitors to drive at least twice a day to go through that neighborhood. This outdated policy was created by a petition in 1989, before there were computers, Google Maps, GPS, or the consideration for the new 18 houses in the town-approved neighborhood on Old Hyannis Road in the past 10 years. The deep potholes, craters, and branches hanging down have caused multiple costly vehicle damages to our neighbors. There have been health and safety issues in our neighborhood, those requiring people to drive the 4 miles around versus a quarter mile down the gravel road to get to the Hyannis Hospital, and calling 911 for fear of not making it there on time. The DPW directors have wanted to pave this section of Summer Street since 1989, according to the town's paperwork. We understand that Yarmouth Emergency Service have also requested this road be paved and drivable. In your last select board meeting on August 11th, you approved a complete streets policy, which I watched. This is the only incomplete street in Yarmouth. It is paved at both ends, but gravel in the middle. It is time to update this town-approved public roadway. We would like a discussion with the board, maybe on the agenda, in regards to the best way to changing this outdated policy in paving the remaining gravel section of Summer Street as part of the important infrastructure and safety of all the residents of Yarmouth. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deacon. I know this has been a long history. Again, this is not on our agenda tonight, so we're unable to
Understand, I
have a
wanted to
discussion.
start.
I have read a lot of emails about that. I know Bob gave some suggestions on how to resolve it. There's I believe that there's a mixture of opinions from the neighbors. So we need to come to some consensus on that. And I think Bob gave you some good direction on that.
You
But
did, very good direction. And I also have a petition from 41
okay,
residents.
if you want to,
And including residents from Summer Street.
okay, if you want to submit that to Bob, and we will later on talk about whether or not somebody on the board would like to put that on an upcoming agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for coming. Tom. Good evening, Mr. Nicanello. Oh, he's going to sit down.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Tom Nicanello, Precinct 3 for the record. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I brought my phone. I'll set the timer for 3 minutes, and forgive me if I'm 2 seconds over.
Go ahead.
But thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank our Director of Information Technologies, Paul Chaffee. He will always be my #1 gigabyte. A few months ago, there was a discussion about our transfer tax. We have some minutes in your packet tonight indicating that one of our citizens, Tom Sullivan, spoke at a board about proposed real estate transfer fee, and he said it was a tax. We had a select board member, Mr. Forrest, indicating that there was going to be discussions with Barnstable County Assembly delegates, knowing the Assembly has been holding meetings to explore the issue, but had not produced formal proposal. I see our Assembly of Delegate is here this evening, and I apologize if I missed any of those meetings. But, you know, the legislative branch of our town is the people, and if we're not involved with the transfer tax and the other, there's another tax they proposed on the mortgage, you know, we just keep on getting hammered, and I think the delegate for our community should be working with us. I don't remember seeing that person here at all discussing with you folks about that transfer tax. and yet now it's a year later, and there's petitions already at the State House saying that the whole region wants it. I'm kind of confused.
Not the only one.
Next thing I have is the goals that you guys did. You worked hard, very hard. They're very good. I love them. The number 1 is great. Number 5, I'd just like to say, it was promote staff retention efforts in town government, which is extremely important. All of our 300 employees are important, but I think, as we all know, this town is run by our committees, and it should be promote staff retention, town government / appreciate committees. And I was kind of hard to see that, but you know, we have down the street the new PRL, Parkers River Landing, wonderful site. And just short 10 days, on September 3rd, 1639, we were incorporated. We became a community, and we became a community to focus on the future and change it and adapt it to us. In 10 days, we'll be there again, and we're only going to be 388 years old. We have 12 years until we're 400. I'm extremely happy that Steve is going to be coming on, and seeing he was from Plymouth, he got shorted on the 400th anniversary, so maybe he'll have a chance to do it again.
Answer the door.
Where's that door?
That's my timer, sorry. So, you know, Parkers River Landing is great. Every 3rd of September, maybe we should celebrate, get a tent, invite the committees, invite the town employees, and just celebrate ourselves. There's nothing better than coming together when you 5 people want to set a vision, and then you spread it amongst the community. This would be the proper place.
Yes.
And just 24 months and 11 days ago, the Honorable Mike Stone, Esquire, had passed away. And we all know that Mike Stone, for 25 years, spent a lot of time in recreation. So maybe we can incorporate a Mike Stone event with the town of Yarmouth at the Parkers River Landing.
Oh.
Last night, there was the Community Economic Development meeting. It was wonderful. Again, a volunteer did yeoman's work, went up and down 28, made a list of all the businesses. We haven't had one of these. I think Kyle was supposed to be doing that years ago. So what he found out is we have 370 businesses, and he rated them in 5 different categories. I won't tell you all of them, but they're good and they're bad. So out of the 370, 38 were rated bad. They're less than 9%. So when people tell me Route 28's a mess, hard facts, it's not a mess. And the last thing I want to say, thank you very much, is you're going to be talking about naming rights. And according to our Selectman 44 policy, the naming rights of the selectmen shall have the care, custody, and supervision of all town lands, buildings, commons, squares, enclosures belonging to the town, with the exception of the Yarmouth Port Pier, exception of the town common in Yarmouthport, the Colonial Acres Bridge, Colonial Acres Beach, Bayview Street, Common Landing, and the Dennis Pond Bathing Center. All these are under the park commissioners. Now, I know you guys are the water commissioners and the sewer commissioners, but I don't know if we have any park commissioners.
They're the park commissioners, too.
I just learned something then. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Welcome, another title, park commissioner. Everybody have a great night.
Did we get a raise for that additional title? Thank you, Tom, and we do appreciate all of our volunteers. That
Especially
can't go
Tom.
without saying. So let us go to Zoom now. Let's go to Vida.
Hello?
Good evening, Vida.
Hello, Vita Morris, Precinct 2. I just, I'll keep it very short. This has to do with the agenda item that we'll be following very shortly, the so-called Forest Road project. I was very surprised when I heard that not one developer had been interested in developing that project. Maybe I'm dreaming, but I'm hoping that there might be a some kind of a indication for you people that this is not a project that the developers, at least decent ones, would try to develop in that area. But maybe, as I said, I just think, has anybody tried to find out what happened? And has it ever happened before? We had not one developer respond to the RFP. I would like to see somebody try to make an effort to find out what happened there. Anyway, I'll be very interested to see what Mr. Gottlieb has to say later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Vita. Mr. Joe Glenn.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Joe Glenn, South Yarmouth. I was watching my friend Tom Nicanello. It was kind of like watching extra time in soccer, but you don't know when it's going to end. But I'll be brief, so I'll retroactively cede my time to Tom. Just quickly, I don't know. I've been told that you have received a letter from the school committee or communication from the school committee about that subcommittee on the regional agreement and either timeline and composition. So I know I don't think it's on the agenda tonight, but
We haven't seen it yet,
be.
Joe. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll get on that, but I know that sometimes communications are bad, so I want to make sure that it was sent. So I'll find out. But I was told that it was. So, but that is in the works, and there will be something going on, and you will receive something. I just don't know when. And I know you have a ambitious and interesting agenda, and I'm looking forward to hearing about it. So thanks very much. Have a great meeting. Have a great night.
Good evening, Joe. Thank you. Next, we have Christopher Guerin. Chris, if you could keep, I know you're not a citizen, a resident of Yarmouth. I know we've let you speak in the past, but because of the length of our meeting tonight, if you could keep it brief, that'd be great.
I will. Is 3 minutes okay? Is that brief or?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, first, I echo the previous speakers who opposed the Forest Road housing plan and the cutting of the trees. And Chris Guerin, South Yarmouth. This board unanimously voted to oppose Senator Sears' duplex bill during the last meeting. Recently, this board also unanimously notified Beacon Hill that it supports the transparent Beacon Hill audit alongside 72% of Massachusetts citizens who voted in favor of the audit across party lines. Hopefully, this board will likewise unanimously oppose implementing Senator Sears' seasonal communities law, as well as his proposed real estate transfer tax bill, because without a transparent audit of the revenue raised and spent, his actions will result in skyrocketing taxes while failing to create affordable housing. Senator Sear famously says taxes are other people's money. The problem is Senator Sear opposes the public supermajority demand for a transparent audit of these taxes. According to the Provincetown Independent website last week, Senator Sear passed the seasonal communities law in 2024, claiming to help towns build affordable housing, but he provided no funding for the towns to do it. Senator Sear is now attempting to leverage support for his publicly unpopular real estate transfer tax by claiming it will fund affordable housing in concert with the seasonal communities law. Senator Sears' pattern during his 3 terms in office is to propose laws with tax increases for programs that sound wonderful. Once again, enacted into law, however, he calls for higher tax increases because the new programs are immediately underfunded. Senator Sears' 2018 Water Preservation Fund is a perfect example. He told this board on January 23rd, 2024, that he's proud to have taken the lead creating this fund, which helps subsidize towns with their sewer construction. The problem is, at the 1 hour, this occurs during the 1 hour and 9th minute of the YouTube video of this meeting. The problem is, at the 1 hour and 25th minute, Senator Sear tells this board the fund is financially short and requires $292 million in additional revenue through the end of the decade. Senator Sear further advises the Yarmouth board to increase its hospitality taxes to make up the deficit. Senator Sear's request for increased hospitality taxes is confusing because at the 1 hour and 35th minute, he tells the board that he agrees with his friends who have vacationed in Provincetown for 20 years that Europe is less expensive and a nicer place to vacation compared to Provincetown. It makes no sense why Senator Sear, the senator of Cape Cod and the islands, supports raising hospitality taxes when he and his friends agree that Provincetown is already too expensive and not a nice place to vacation anymore. Taxes may be other people's money, but the Cape does not benefit if the other people are vacationing somewhere else and Senator Sears' constituents are stuck paying the bill. Hopefully, for the reasons stated, this board will unanimously oppose Senator Sears' seasonal communities unfunded law, as well as his proposed real estate transfer tax, without first conducting a thorough, transparent audit of Beacon Hill. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Chris. Is there anybody else who'd like to address the public, the board? Yes. I would just like to say that unless it's a public hearing, we will not be taking comments later during our discussions. So now's your time.
Hi, my name is Robert Camara. I'm from South Yarmouth. Tonight, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Forest Road. Thankfully, LVO covered a lot of the history for me, so I won't have to do that. But I want to go back to the issues at the very least on this property. The impacts that we're looking at to the wildlife, to the deers, to the coyotes, the hawks, all those animals, the bunnies. You know, what's going to happen if this property is disturbed? Also like to talk briefly about, you know, the water. The drinking water in particular, with the well being directly across the street, and the impact potentially of further harming that well. And then, of course, the water that travels down to the captains and the impact on our neighbors and the flooding in their basements and the use of their sump pumps, which are not running right now for the last 2 seasons because there's a drought. But once that drought goes away at some point, it'll be a substantial issue for the town to deal with. And then I'd like to acknowledge that most of the board members are in agreement with the concerns about Forest Road, and I thank you for that. But what I need most from the board members is not just your agreement that there's an issue down there, but I need you to have some action. So what do I suggest as action? Well, one thing would be getting together with the YHA and asking them to remove their RFP at this time, take it off the market. And then maybe think about putting the property, the 18.69 acres of property on Forest Road, and put it into conservation. We as a town set aside funds for conservation property, and this would be an ideal one for many reasons. And then I'd also like to encourage the board to maybe consider working with the YHA to look for a couple of alternate locations that have already been kind of cleared or run down, that, you know, could be some housing that could be torn down and then they could build something there, which would meet their needs. So, you know, trying to be cooperative between the two boards and to have everyone get what they're seeking. We're sitting on a sandbar with limited resources, okay? Our water is extremely important to us, and we need to take care of everything that, you know, is so precious to us. So I urge you to take action and not just listen and agree, but do something. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara. Good evening, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry O'Connell, Yarmouth Port. So the Housing Authority has control of that land. Can another 18-acre parcel be offered to them so we can conduct some type of land swap to bring that piece of land back into control of the citizens of Yarmouth?
Thank you. We've had that discussion, but it's you know, I think we're looking at all possible opportunities. Thank you, Jerry. Good evening, sir.
Hello. Somebody lost their pen. My name is Andrew, and I'm not actually a Yarmouth resident, but I am a lifelong Cape Cod resident. I just came to listen and hear what would be said and see what I could learn. For what it's worth, in
Andrew, could you give us your full name and your town?
Andrew DeRogers and Marston's Mills. And take what I'm about to say for whatever you will, but there's a lot of people who have expressed a disinterest in the housing going up. What I've noticed is there's two opposing contradictory stances going on here. On the one hand, there is a push to protect the environment, reduce plastics, save the environment, yada, yada, yada. At the other end, often from the same group of people, there is a push to turn much of Cape Cod and Yarmouth also into Little Boston. Now, the problem with that is you can't have it both ways. Either you're concerned about the environment and there's limited resources and you have to take these things into consideration and they're a factor, or they're not. You can't play it both ways. You can't put up these, forgive the language, stupid-ass, multi-story, high-rise apartments, which I'd love to know who those are for, because I suspect they're not for all the young, upcoming families who are moving to Cape Cod because it's so very affordable to live here. And there's just a boom for opportunities and jobs galore. You can't be slapping those up all over the place in every town and then say we need to protect the environment at the same time. Furthermore, on the subject of Senator Sear, who, in my personal opinion, is a dinkweed.
Let's not do that. Stick to the facts, please.
Yeah. If he's run out of money and he needs more money, you can't just keep coming to the taxpayers and say, well, we used up all the money you gave us last time, we need more. And in my personal opinion, if you're going to transfer property to other family members or sell it, to charge a fee to do that is, one, stupid, and two, nobody has a right to that money. It is the personal property of the family. If they are selling it to other family members or somebody else, or they're transferring it, that is their right. It is their property to do so with. To try to leverage a fee, which as others have expressed is essentially a tax, is a load of horse manure. You don't give a spoiled child more money after they have maxed out the credit card. So my advice, take it for what it is. If there are such individuals who are irresponsible with money and don't know what they're doing, don't give them more money. And moreover, don't give them the taxpayers' money. The taxpayers have it hard enough without having to pay for other people's excessive stupidity that they have come up short for. So take that for what it's worth. My advice is give some more consideration to maybe telling some of these people no.
Thank you, Andrew. Is there anybody else who'd like to address the board? Yes, sir.
Dave Witter. I live on Beacon Street. I'm going to submit two different government articles about present issues with clean water use on the Cape. Lack of clean water is not just about Yarmouth. It's a county-wide regional problem. Okay? Adding more people to the problem is probably not a good decision. Okay? And with the discussion about Forest Road, that certainly would add to the problem. You know, sometimes you have to, not every decision is going to be about adding something. Sometimes you got to take away something, okay? Because it's not working at this level. The last thing I want to mention here, I'm making a video recommendation that everyone who lives on the Cape should watch. The Tragic Fall of Cape Cod, Why Nobody Wants to Visit Cape Cod Anymore. This is a 40-minute video by Paul McAllister. It already has 174,000 views as of July 29th. Paul McAllister makes videos of the American cities. Okay, I saw it yesterday. It is fabulous. It goes into talking about the history of the whole Cape up until 2026. It's well worth the watch. You can watch it with your families. It's safe watching, but it also points out some very serious problems that are coming down here in the near future to the Cape.
Thank you very much for your comments. anybody else? Yes, sir. Good evening.
I just have a quick question. I'm Josh Avery, South Yarmouth. If they remove all those trees on Forest Road, which is sucking up a lot of water, and the rest of the houses flood, or houses that didn't flood now flood, who's going to be responsible for that?
Thank you, Mr. Avery. Good evening, sir.
Hi, Bob O'Malley, South Yarmouth. LVO mentioned the Parker River Sanctuary, and I would just like to note that now through the Parker River goes a protected species of fish every spring. They're called river herring. And in 2004, the state of Massachusetts made that a protected species. And I'm sure you all have been to herring runs, so you know what I'm talking about. You've probably been yourself or taken your kids or grandkids. So I don't know how you could build or start a project. It's just another obstacle in the way of this project. But anyways, I just wanted to bring to your attention that it's a protected species. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anybody else who'd like to address the board? Okay, seeing nobody, we are going to move on to our 6:15 item, which is the number 1 megabyte. Fall coffee. Mr. Chaffee, come forward, please.
And can I make a couple comments?
Absolutely, please do.
I'll come to the podium. Now, you're sure, Paul, this is going to be able to be seen? Now we know who worries about this type of thing, you know, how the whole thing comes together. Paul does a lot more than people know. And I just want to say a couple of words. I mean, it's very rare that someone comes along and has such a positive and fundamental impact on an organization in such a short period of time. And such was the case with our IT director, Paul Chaffee, who has put so much into his 5 years with the town. And I want to take us back a little bit. Prior to Paul's arrival in 2021, when I first arrived here myself, the town had not had an IT director for quite some time. And this function was primarily carried out by consultants with part-time supervision. Yes, we maintained our basic network, but we lacked the direction and leadership to address all of the modern IT challenges that we faced, and things were really not moving in the right direction. And that changed immediately when we brought Paul on board. In addition to his IT experience, what people need to understand is Paul served in a very high management capacity in some major New England companies that had a national and international footprint. And I do mean that pun. They were largely in the athletic footwear industry, and we're lucky in Massachusetts to have such fabulous companies. And he directed the IT, but also served in a management capacity. And he brought with him to our small town a very well-developed and mature sense of leadership that has served us extremely well in the way that we've revamped our total approach to IT and how it works with each individual department. He built a true team in the IT department to address the needs of all of our town departments and take on new challenges on a daily basis. We've rebuilt the entire team down in IT, had a complete modernization of all of our networks. Paul was a right-hand man in getting the new contract with our cable television license that allowed us to develop his vision that he saw as a town-owned and town-controlled fiber optic network linking all of our facilities, and then obtained the grant funding to actually get it built and to transfer it from the old Comcast system that was at the end of its useful life and breaking down. Instituting cybersecurity as a major priority at a time when municipal servers are constantly under attack, and we've seen just on Cape what that's done. He helped to create and guide our first communications team, improve the town's website. He's worked very hard with C3 TV to improve our PEG access and the way we do all of the outreach in the community and the town meetings have just increased exponentially. The coverage of meetings and events has all been pushed by the IT department. We've rethought and completely modernized the whole phone systems that we use, and just having the departments get all that they can get out of technology while building a team that's really going to continue. Paul has brought a tremendous amount of professionalism and wisdom here into town government, and I'm very thankful for that, and we're going to miss him greatly when he goes. So.
Thank you. So much for your words, Bob. I am going to read a proclamation for the board and let board members speak before I let you speak. So I appreciate that. One moment, please. The Town of Yarmouth Select Board official citation. Be it known that the Town of Yarmouth hereby recognizes Paul Chaffee on his retirement as Director of Information Technology effective August 28, 2026, and for your dedicated service to the Town of Yarmouth. And be it further known that the Town of Yarmouth extends its sincere thanks and gratitude for over 5 years of tireless service in Information Technology Division. Your knowledge of technology, cybersecurity, has helped shape not just our IT division, but our entire organization. This citation is duly signed by the Chair of the Yarmouth Select Board on the 25th day of August in the year of our Lord 2026. Thank you. Just sit, we're going to let everybody speak, and then I'll let you have final words. Mark, do you have anything?
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
This is not an easy job. For the folks that are watching at home and are in the audience, being an IT director for a community like ours is very challenging. You're often dealing with equipment that isn't always up to speed or up to par. You're dealing with other systems that you have to integrate with that at times are challenging. I mean, the number of challenges and difficulties and problems that you have to solve, it's endless. And you've been an incredible asset to the town of Yarmouth. You've worked incredibly hard. Your efforts have led us to a point where today, I mean, we're in a much better shape because of you. You leave Yarmouth in a much stronger position with a very, very dedicated team. And on behalf of the people of Yarmouth, I just want to thank you personally for all of your service, all of your sacrifice, and everything that you've done to make us such a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Well, thank you doesn't seem to be enough to say. You've been a guiding hand for me all the way, right from the very beginning when I came on board. Miss doesn't know a thing about technology and spent quite a bit of time in your office. You even helped me get my own computer squared away. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You brought us up to the current ages. We're out of prehistoric dinosaur times now with our technology, and I'm going to miss you. You sure you want to go?
Yeah.
I mean, really, we'd be happy to have you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Joyce?
I'd just like to thank Paul for everything that he's done and mention a thing that probably wouldn't be visible to a lot of you, but probably does a lot to protect the town. He's introduced a whole cybersecurity system that has little tests that everybody with a town computer has to take, and one is nudged if one does not take them. And that gets a reduction on our insurance, as well as protecting our whole network and, protecting all our important secrets. And I just am admiring that somebody can be so security spy-like oriented and be so genial. He's really been a lovely presence. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Yeah, I think what she's trying to say is you're a real human being, even though you have to take care of all the robots in the building. So, amazing. And you have done wonders. I remember when I first came on and we started working on the website, and I'm so proud of it now. So, you did it. You brought it to where it needs to be. So, thank you. And part of the, no, everybody else has applauded all of your many talents, but of course, nobody mentioned hauling all this equipment around. And this thing, I remember that I was visiting you, he's got to get that from upstairs to downstairs. And you did it. So thanks, Paul. And I don't, like everybody else, just think you should stay.
Thank you, Liz.
Well, Paul, I think, 5 years is, in the scheme of a career, probably not, the longest time you've spent somewhere, but you certainly have made a lasting impact, as Bob has said. The pieces that you touch, you probably know exactly how many computers the town has that you're responsible for. Would you like to share the number?
I know, because that is a security issue.
Touche.
Appreciate that. But it's not just the computers, as Liz pointed out. It's the website, it's the security, it's the, the interaction for people, that are trying to do commerce at home with the town, making sure that they can pay their bills and have access to the meetings and all of the documentation. There's just so many facets to what you've brought us up to speed with, that it's remarkable. And in the 5 years, your impact is tremendous, and will be, we've talked a lot about retirements lately, and setting us up for the future. And to say that you set us up in a good position, you must feel confident, although, it's probably bittersweet to go into retirement. But at the same time, you have left us in a better place, and that's really the goal of any career, is to leave it better than you found it. And you certainly did that, and we very much appreciate you.
Well, Tracy, thank you. And if I may, I wish I could take all the accolades. When I first came here 5 years ago, there was a list of things that we should be doing. We looked at, we said, oh my, we got to do this. And if it wasn't first for leadership who bought into the changes and supported me from beginning to end, and for finance teaching me the way of municipality, because that's a whole different ball game than I was used to. And then department heads, each and every department head took time to sit, talk, discuss needs, where we needed to go. And then working with my team, who were willing to learn, go the extra mile, and change the face of IT from what I understood was a grumpy, complaining face to one of, hey, we need help. So, I wish I could take all the accolades today, but it's a team effort. It was a team effort when I started. It's a team effort, moving away today.
That's a reflection of a good leader.
So it was a lot of fun. It's been fun, and, I've been grateful to have the opportunity and to see so much progress happen in a short time. I am very proud of the team that did that, and very proud to have had the opportunity. So thank you all very much.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Very grateful. Sometimes just thanks seems so, it's not enough. Okay, our next item is our 6:30 item, and it's a proclamation for our National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. I have a proclamation here. Is there anything, Bob, that you wanted to?
No, nothing to add on that.
Okay, well, I'm going to read it into the record. For the public, this is a proclamation for National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Whereas September is recognized nationally as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, the Cape and Island Suicide Prevention Coalition invites our communities, mental health advocates, prevention organizations, survivors, and allies to join together in destigmatizing mental health and taking proactive action towards suicide prevention. Our goal is to increase awareness of mental health and suicide prevention resources and strengthen connections to appropriate support services. And whereas, according to the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, 48,800 people die by suicide in the United States in 2024, with provisional data indicating a similar number in 2025. Suicide remains one of the leading causes of death nationwide, including among young and young adults. And whereas, nationally, the United States experiences an average of 133 suicide deaths per day, and each loss is estimated to directly affect more than an additional 135 people, including family, friends, service members, co-workers, and community members. And whereas in Massachusetts, the statewide suicide rate is 8.6 per 100,000 in 2023, Barnstable County's rate is 11.7 per 100,000, underscoring the urgent need for local action, prevention, and community engagement. And whereas the Cape and Islands Suicide Prevention Coalition works year-round to promote prevention, awareness, education, and action through its community trainings, forums, and regional events, helping residents recognize risk factors, strengthen protective factors, and build a network of support. And whereas the town of Yarmouth, Massachusetts publicly affirms its full support for the Cape and Islands Suicide Prevention Coalition and for all those who work in suicide prevention, mental health, education, public safety, and research. And whereas we encourage all residents to deepen their understanding of mental health, recognize the importance of caring for their own well-being, and support one another in fostering a community where hope, connection, and help are all accessible to everybody. Now, therefore, the Yarmouth Select Board does hereby proclaim the month of September 2026 as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Yarmouth, Massachusetts, adopted by the Yarmouth Select Board on this 25th day of August 2026, and it's signed by the entire board. It's always good for us to reflect on this and recognize, you know, to see 11.7 for 100,000, which is higher than, you know, the statewide average, is something that hits home. So, you know, on a day where we lost Dolly Parton, and I said earlier, somebody said, if you don't have a smile, I'll lend you mine. And, you know, while we're busy and the traffic is terrible, just remember that, you know, a little bit can make a big difference in people's lives. So take the time to, you know, connect with somebody that you feel might need it, and maybe you could change a life.
Oh, nicely said, Tracy. Ooh.
So our 6:45 item is the Yarmouth Housing Authority Forest Road RFP, and I see Mr. Gottlieb is here. Good evening. Thanks for coming. It's been a while. All right, Andrew. Can I call you Andy? Is that all right?
Tracy, you
Would
can call me whatever you like.
Yeah, have a seat.
Have a seat?
Sure.
Why not get comfortable?
Well, don't get too comfortable. That's what I tell everybody. Have a seat, but don't get too comfortable. So, in our packet, I know that you have submitted a letter to us, and in our packet is the letter. So, if you just want to describe for the public what it is you'd like to discuss tonight,
Yes.
and your letter, that would be wonderful.
Thanks. So I just wanted to give a quick overview of the context that we're working in here. We recently launched this Cape We Shape campaign. Thank Bob. Because as an organization, we've perceived that Cape development patterns have impacted our water quality significantly, as you well know. 90% of our estuaries and over a third of our ponds fail to meet good water quality standards. Housing and environment and economy are intertwined here. The pattern of development we've engaged in has resulted in a high cost of living, very expensive housing, not a lot of choices in housing typology, and it's had an impact on labor market that I know that you as an employer, me as an employer, everyone, we all confront. We've resulted in a fragmented natural landscape, and in particular in the relevance to the question at hand on Forest Road, we've threatened our existing water supplies, and we have threats to the preservation of future supplies, and we've resulted in increased vulnerability from flooding, heightened risk of from storm intensity. The reason we're having this conversation, I think, is largely encapsulated by the next couple of slides. This is Cape Cod around 1900, up until the Great Depression. Almost no development, 3,100 parcels by 1929. This is us today. And what you see here is, massive infill. The development started where you'd expect it would, around the water, around the coast, then the ponds, then the forested middlelands. And it has created significant changes to Cape Cod. And what it has brought to bear is that 86% of Cape Cod is either developed or protected. And by protected, I mean either in public ownership with a conservation restriction or owned by a private land trust, some permanence associated with it. That leaves 14% both undeveloped and unprotected, and 80% of that is what is defined by the Cape Cod Commission and the Regional Policy Plan, and we borrowed that definition, priority natural resource lands. What is that? That's our drinking water areas, the areas that provide drinking water and provide protection to those areas. It's the water bodies themselves, the wetlands, and the areas that buffer them. It's state-listed sensitive habitats that provide the habitat needed for the 132 rare, endangered, and threatened species that call Cape Cod home. And it's our flood zones. So the opportunity to protect those lands exists in every town. The threat to those lands exists in every town. This is just the red properties are those that fall within these natural resource areas that are up for grabs. There are some in Yarmouth, there are some in every community. And there is some location that is threatened, that is sensitive, either close to where you live, close to where you work, close to a place that you care about on Cape Cod. So we've launched this campaign to try to engage citizenry in each of the 15 towns, to equip them with the skills and tools and expertise they need in order to be able to engage with you as municipal leaders on this issue. There's 3 phases to this. We've passed the initial phase, which is just the launch of this initiative. We are now at the stage where over 900 people have signed up with us across 15 communities, and we are in the process of training them on how to productively engage with municipal government. And so we're developing training modules on how towns function, how town meetings function, how to work within a warrant structure, how to understand how municipalities raise and allocate funding, what types of debt there are, things you'd want people on an informed basis participating in your community. The goal here is to mobilize them to become informed, effective champions on behalf of increasing the amount of public space that is protected permanently from development, focused in those areas of most critical landscapes. So that is the context in which we wrote you the letter, or we didn't write you the letter, that we wrote the Yarmouth Housing Authority the letter, because the property at risk here, 506 Forest Road, would be one of those red spots. We have done a lot of work as an organization, first partnering with the Housing Assistance Corporation several years ago on a project called Grow Smart Cape Cod, excuse me, where we looked at those areas that lend themselves most to denser development to create some affordability associated with it, whether it's subsidized or not, and those areas that were important natural resource areas where development pressure should be lessened or eliminated. That process resulted in identifying on a large scale each of the 15 towns maps that showed areas that most benefit from conservation, those which most appropriate for additional development. In all cases, those areas that warrant additional development were scored that way because they either had existing public wastewater infrastructure or it was planned in the next 5 to 10 year window. This particular property shows up in those Grow Smart maps as potentially suitable for development if and when wastewater infrastructure is provided to that location. It's our understanding that this site is not on your phase until 2042, which is a long time from now. So it is not what we would consider land that would be appropriate for development, and wrote that to the Yarmouth Housing Authority to encourage them to rescind, withdraw the RFP, and to engage with community leaders such as yourselves at the land trust community and look for an alternative location to address the needs for housing, but to put this particular parcel aside for conservation to protect your current and future water supply needs, and to address the environmental resources that fall within that region. So that was the basis of how we got here. I think it's an indicator of what you can expect from us in the future. We're looking and working more concertedly with local folks in each of the towns to, now that we have these maps, saying, now, what are you hearing? What are you seeing? Who's talking about this? Where are these lands in priority? And when we see situations like this, which goes against, I think, sound development principles, sound conservation principles, we will be working with the people we've engaged with in the communities to raise that to your attention in a respectful and constructive manner to try and direct the development where it should go and direct conservation efforts where they need to go. The 14% that's left is under unprecedented protection or pressure. And the next several years are going to have a lot to do with what the future of the region looks like and whether we will ultimately be able to reap the benefits of your investment in infrastructure to improve water quality that's been degraded by what's here and lose that because we allowed more to go in sensitive areas. So we have not heard from the Housing Authority in response. I anticipate that to be a question. But we do really appreciate your engagement. I'm happy to talk to you about ways that we can help, and we are here hopefully to be seen as a resource to help guide this discussion towards those areas where development might be more appropriate and to support you and your community in doing what can be done to secure this parcel and all the other ones of significance in Yarmouth for conservation purposes over the next several years.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
I think it's safe to speak on behalf of the board that I know you probably heard a lot of public comment. This has been an ongoing situation for many, many years. The people have spoken several times on the parcel. So, that was my question to you when you said, what you could do to help. I'd really love to hear what the potentials are. We have had, for the public's knowledge, that this is controlled by the Housing Authority. They are their own separate entity. It's not on behalf of the town, as was mentioned by Mr. Rodriguez. It was conveyed to them many years ago and has sat for a lot of years. And I think what the original intent into what we have now has morphed some, I'm sure, due to just the market and what they have to probably put on it to make it worth a developer. Having said that, it was pointed out by Vita that the last RFP, there were issues that were raised there for on a variety of things, and there were no developers that came forward on that. We don't know what will happen with this, but I can speak for myself on this. I would certainly love to know the tools that are available for us because we have had them in before and, tried to discuss exactly what you're talking about for probably, I don't know, at least a decade when it's been brought back on, some type of transfer to build in a more, what we feel is a more appropriate place. And unfortunately, thus far, our hands have been quite tied.
Right.
So, we are elected at the behest of the people, and the people have spoken on this several times. And so, in terms of tools, I'd love to hear what you or your organization can bring to the table. The state puts us in a, we're sets up these parameters that make it very difficult for us to have local control on a lot of these issues. We lose a lot of local control. We're competing with the environment, the housing situation. I don't think it's a secret to anybody that we have a housing affordability, right? I mean, we talk about affordable housing. It's really not affordable. And then, we tell people they can't use their water because we're in a drought, and yet we're trying. So it's, for me, I'm having a hard time aligning all of that. We can't keep building. We just can't. And I know that, you know, there's a lot of underdeveloped properties, and I think one of the things I've pushed in all my years here is I'd love to see redevelopment instead of new development, you know? And so what tools we have at our disposal that might help us and the Housing Authority to work together to try to achieve that.
So, permission to speak frankly?
You know, you always have that.
The essence of the nature of this campaign is to gently and respectfully, but incessantly and consistently bring pressure on public bodies to address this issue. So what can we do? You know, we are, in some respects, more constrained than you are, and that, you know, you as the town of Yarmouth, you know, you have a seat at the table as permitting authority. You know, we're an outside organization, we're coming in on this, but I think what our approach to this is to engage the Housing Authority, and we do what we do, which is, we've done it in other towns, maybe we've done it to you, maybe you feel like we've done it to you, but we'll, you know, we have an engaged membership that we can say, you know, this issue is being talked about at this particular location of this Yarmouth Housing Authority meeting, or the Yarmouth Housing Authority is meeting. We need people to show up, and we need people to, you know, address these particular types of points. So I think our approach to this, you know, without criticizing somebody for something they haven't done yet, not knowing what the response to the Housing Authority is that we would likely, in the event that, you know, we're not responded to or there's a dismissive response, begin to invite our constituency and membership to join us at conversations with the Yarmouth Housing Authority. Do they have to listen to us? Nope. Our experience has been that when you turn people out to public meetings, public bodies like this, on a regular basis, and it's clear that it's not just a one and done, you know, write it out, they'll go away and they'll forget, that the issue ultimately gets responded to. Housing Authority has its sole discretion to do what it chooses to do. You can't change it, I can't change it, our membership can't change it. However, I think that, you know, consistent pressure and attention has a tendency to draw people to the table to have a conversation about alternatives. We have, and I know you have it as well, you know, we have detailed maps on all the status of all the potential housing parcels and the potential conservation parcels that are in the town of Yarmouth. You know, one of our roles can be to be making suggestions about how to redirect this. I agree with you, Tracy, that, you know, the criteria that we've developed for where housing is appropriate is underdeveloped areas, areas in need of redevelopment, town centers, where served by wastewater infrastructure. The need for the ability to generate a substantial amount of housing exists in those areas and obviates much of the need to address the green space destruction where it's cheaper, easier, faster for a developer to come in and do that. So it's not a matter, and you know, you cited in your comment, Soshin, that we all feel caught between the environment and housing, the environment and housing. We view it as a false choice. It's a lazy characterization that has had political benefits for people making the argument that, well, we have to sacrifice the environmental integrity of this particular because we have to deal with the housing side. There is more funding and more money and more profit in the new development side than there is in the redevelopment side. And therefore, the narrative around the need to sacrifice open space to meet this undisputed public need is self-serving. We reject it. And we will call attention to it and call it out for what it is in all forums where we're provided the opportunity to do it. So I don't think we have to make that choice. I think we can smartly do, you know, I think Cape Cod has demonstrated can walk and chew gum at the same time. And we can address critical housing needs. You've already done it in some of your areas along 28 corridor, repurposing things that have exceeded their useful life and have been repurposed to meet new needs to the community. You don't have to sacrifice the critical remaining open space, because if you do, you can build that housing and there's not going to be any reason to be here.
Right? No, I don't disagree with any of that.
So, you know, we'll work with our community to continue to draw attention to this issue, and hopefully that the Housing Authority will have heard this discussion, heard your reactions to it, heard the comment, and hopefully approach you and look to swap this land for something that's more suitable, and we would support that initiative.
You know what, I support that initiative too, Andrew, but unfortunately, I've been here a long time, and we've been very unsuccessful, and the man spoke early on about at some point in time, you have to take action. You know, I'm afraid that we're going to lose a critical resource where we could, you know, I think the comment was also made that you can have great conversations and come to a resolution working together. And if I thought that was possible in this case, I think that, you know, we would continue to have that dialogue. Unfortunately, I don't feel like they really want to talk to us. So, you know, the reason when I set this agenda, I wanted to make sure that we also had the discussion of the RFP on there. So we were, outside of your presentation, able to take, you know, potential action, because I would like this board to take some type of action to find out what our legal abilities are, and to hire counsel to give us our opportunities. I don't want to do that. I would love to have conversation, but unfortunately, we've
I understand that sense of despondency around some of these particulars, and, you know, we've had a lot of conversations with people as we've had this Team SOS rollout in numerous communities. And one of the first things people come to the table with us is, well, you know, there's a 40B proposal in my neighborhood. How can I use this process to help prevent that from happening? And my answer is, the deck is stacked, even more so towards the development side now. That's where all the momentum is in legislative conversation. It's where all the momentum is in terms of funding. The reason why investing in all of this and trying to chip away heavily at that fast is the best way to prevent the critical resource land that you care about, that's important to your water supply, your recreation, whatever your priorities are for resource conservation, is to own it and have it conserved. Because then those rules can't get tilted against you.
Right.
And so while this is a big lift on top of the wastewater, on top of the other municipal needs that you have, we're not using this team process to fight a particular 40B. What we're trying to do is prevent the next 40B discussion from happening in the wrong critical sensitive lands. And the only way to do that, given the statutory framework in Massachusetts, is to own it and conserve it and give the development rights away. So we've made the hard sort of acceptance that we're going to lose some. In fact, frankly, when you get into a 40B, odds are you're going to lose. If you're a conservationist like we are, you're going to lose. The question is how bad. It's really hard to win that game. So the only way to win that game is to fight a different fight, which is to get ahead of it so that you're not subjected to it. And so part of this would be, you know, we'd love to sit down and talk to you and the folks that we're having engaged in our Yarmouth team, like, where are the priorities? You know, there's a lot of red dots in the town of Yarmouth. Where are the priorities and which ones cascade to become more important to you? Part of what we want to build with this training is the people that you would need to show up at a town meeting, to show up at a ballot box, to get the approval necessary to have some of those projects move forward. We want to do some of the dark art of politics behind the scenes on this, so that when you stick your necks out, say we're prioritizing ecological preservation projects in the town of Yarmouth, not because we're turning our back on housing, because we want to secure for the highest and best use of a particular parcel, the conservation of that parcel, because that is the highest and best use. We want to be able to turn people out to support you in numbers so that you can do those. We want to be at the back of the communities that are moving these types of things forward, the same way the dynamic has worked in many respects on the wastewater side.
Right. I'm just curious about other communities who have been successful in, you know, different strategies and working to, you know, some of these parcels, as you said, we own, we maintain, we control, right? So it's a different situation. And in this particular situation, we don't control it. So I'm just wondering if there's, we talked years ago about transfer of development rights, things like that, things that when we had some underdeveloped hotels, we talked to the Housing Authority years ago about doing some type of trade. It never went anywhere. I would just love to see where another town was successful in doing that and how they got there. And also, if there's funding out there for conservation where perhaps, you could buy this parcel from them where they'd have enough money to go. I mean, they have a mission, right? They're a Yarmouth Housing Authority. They want to provide housing. That's what they do. And can't blame them for that. It's just, as has been mentioned, it's the right place, right? We don't want to stand in their way. We just want it in a place that's not a critical or sensitive.
A couple ways to answer that. One of the things that we worked in support on a very secondary basis to Citizen and Land Trust initiated articles at town meetings this past spring in Falmouth, Brewster, and a couple other communities where they looked at town-owned property that was presumed to be protected and preserved because it was in critical areas, and it wasn't. And move those lands over to conservation. That's one set of tasks, and we have a goal of working with each one of the 15 towns across the region over the next 18 months to get at least 100 acres in each community that's already publicly owned, from general use to conservation status where the resources at hand would warrant that. That's a zero-cost opportunity to improve conservation. I think if you could go back in time, you'd look at this parcel differently from the Yarmouth Select Board and Town Meeting that originally transferred over to the Housing Authority, with a better understanding now of the critical nature of the environmental resource threats that you have. Having that conversation, we'd love to have engage the town in that conversation about how can we take that initial first step. We're learning a lot as we go around to towns and talking to them about what has worked in those communities. Happy to bring those lessons back. There are, and we've worked, cooperatively with the town on, as a grant writer on your behalf for funding for different opportunities where sometimes it's hard for the towns, they don't have staff to do it, or we have access as a nonprofit to funding that you're not eligible for, but we can do it on your behalf. So there's opportunities to find funding that would support your efforts. We'd love to have a conversation with a number of towns. I might make Bob mad, I don't know about this one. About looking at how different towns are using their CPA funds. Towns, a lot of towns, and I don't know the situation in Yarmouth, a lot of towns use CPA funds as cash as you go. Another alternative is to look at large-scale land acquisition, use your CPA funds as a pledge to support borrowing so that you're taking it off the additional tax rate. There are some towns where that is like death. We're not doing that. Well, that is a unnecessary discretionary choice by those towns is tying their hands on what they want to do. And if we could talk about it more thoroughly, we might be able to start to see towns use the resources that they have at their discretion now differently to afford an increase in the ability to secure properties that are critical, that are here now and may be gone tomorrow. So those are all types of things we'd love to engage in.
Great. Joyce?
Two things, Madam Chair. I'm wondering, given that there has been a history of select boards in the past offering land swaps of other public land for the troubled land, if we could perhaps have the town administrator share those sites with Andy and APCC and just get like a very preliminary read to make sure that those would be more appropriate. It almost seems like they would have to be.
Because we have the maps and you have the maps. We could talk about, what we're talking about is no mystery to anybody at this point. We have a pretty good shared understanding.
My house going? You're taking my house? No.
Pretty good shared understanding of what areas are more lend themselves to development, which areas more lend
Just so
themselves.
you know, that our conversations were kind of conceptual with them at the time on how we could do it if they'd be willing. At that time, it wasn't like we had this piece. It was the Cavalier was not redeveloped at that time, and there was just conversations about maybe, trying to
There were
figure out
different
a way.
opportunities
Yeah,
then
but
than
there wasn't
now.
any offer by the town for a specific plan, just so you know.
Then my second point was just to help with the audience. I found, dear audience members, this extremely puzzling myself several years ago, and I've got it all sorted now. But there's this whole difference of public entities and different municipal organizations. So you've got the Board of Select, the Select Board here. You've got the Yarmouth Housing Authority here, and then, of course, you've got county government, which is totally different, so that we have no say over things that the county commissioners or assembly of delegates do. And it's kind of democracy all over, because all of these places, including the Yarmouth Housing Authority, have their elected representatives. So it's really got to be a game of education and persuasion and bartering or motivating. Thank you so much, Andy. This has been very helpful.
I'm going to go to Dorcas, then I'll go back. Go ahead, Dorcas.
Well, it's frustrating. I love hearing what you're going to be going forward and doing, and the educating to the public and to get the public out here, because nobody wants to say that we don't need housing. I mean, I don't think anyone can say that. We know. But the question is, where do you put it that's appropriate? And certainly on a parcel of land such as we have on Forest Road, it's not appropriate for that. And no matter how many times we've knocked on the door of Yarmouth Housing Authority to say, come on, can we come up with some other solution? You really can't put it here. We're just being met by silence. No, we need the housing. So I like the idea that you'd be there for us for future projects to help us with. In the case of this one, I'm leaning more toward what Tracy said, that it's time for us to get legal counsel in here and to see what can we do to rectify this one. Like everyone well-intentioned made their decisions in the 80s on this particular parcel, but as been told to us repeatedly, they talked about putting in 34 units of senior housing. And now this is morphed to 90 bedrooms of affordable housing. Is there a way that we can turn that decision around and bring it back? And that's on this particular one where I think we need to go. But I'd also like to be able to talk to you about, well, you've got your map now. Where should we be looking in Yarmouth? Where should we be, we have a lot of homes that are kind of falling down, like estates that own them, that nothing's happening with them. How can we reclaim some of these properties, which certainly would help the neighborhoods that they're in, and also be able to help bringing in housing? So that's a dilemma, but I'm really glad to hear about what you're going to be doing.
Great.
Thank
Well,
you.
we look forward to working with you more on this.
Thank you.
Liz?
So I'm kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, but the RFP, Yarmouth Housing Authority was responsive to the requirements, the restrictions, and the requirements that needed to be added to the RFP to make any developer proposal have any validity at all. Did it go out with those?
There were two
right.
substantive changes from the previous RFP that
and they were intended.
The
Yeah.
first one was to require a nitrogen removal septic system, and that was a major point of emphasis that the board had made at the discussions of the previous RFP. And the second condition is a little more intriguing. It was something that we haven't discussed in detail with the Housing Authority that may make it a little easier to deal with the impacts of this development, that they bisected the site, and then they seek now to have a section of it that would be for the development of housing, and a secondary section that would be conserved as open space. And if we started there with we have an area that we're conserving as open space, and we take the area that is proposed for housing, that may be a more manageable piece of property to find an alternate location, and the open space can be preserved at this site. So there have been some improvements.
And wasn't there a
I know we've got
stormwater?
the Housing Authority with us this evening. I don't know if Drew,
Wasn't there also the stormwater provision? He doesn't want to say anything? He's not at liberty. So there was also stormwater, there had to be a stormwater.
and the stormwater management plan is required for this development anyway. So it will have a stormwater management plan. So, I mean, it's unlikely that a development would come in. I know there's a lot of fear, and we've heard that this evening, that the neighbors are going to all be flooded. I think that those issues have to be addressed, and that, I think Andy referred to that. The town does have some regulatory authority over that. There is a required stormwater management plan. So that would have to be addressed, and
I don't think that the developers that would ordinarily respond to an RFP like this, 40B, et cetera, are going to be flocking to this RFP because of these stringent requirements that put it into a different realm. So in a way, we're kind of mid-process on this project. And I think, in the meantime, I do think it needs to be looked at, what were those votes, and what is the ultimate arrangement around this land, because there's so much confusion. Are we limited to 30 units or not? But I would also bring up, and it's not on our agenda, so it cannot be discussed, but we have a similar project at Matakey's middle school property that has probably something that deserves our attention in terms of preservation, screams for it. And so good you're at the table for that one, too. And I think we need to be very careful. While it feels a little bit like those of us who are lucky to be here are the privileged and the elite, and we're kind of protecting our beautiful, and for the tourists, this is true too. And the governor's bill, which we were at the Maura Healey reception together, Andy, and she's pushing for permitting that is blanket for Massachusetts. It's to expedite the permitting, and she heard from us, and it's in our letter response to the MMA, where we disagree with the MMA on that point, that this blanket permitting to make it go fast is not going to be beneficial for Cape Cod. So that's another aspect of Yarmouth and the Capes need to protect ourselves. We have to be vigilant on that one too. But I think this is a process, and Yarmouth Housing Authority is we're going to see it evolve into a situation where they're going to be receptive to a land swap because they can't do anything on that property. Mm-hmm. That's my comment.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Andy, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
And it's great to see this campaign come to Yarmouth, and for us as a community to be able to draw upon the resources of APCC in helping us identify the properties that need protection and conservation, and the properties that might be suitable for development, is an incredibly important exercise. And we thank you for doing that work and including our town, because I'd like to see us work aggressively with you and your organization to take action on your recommendations, to find ways we can work together to aggressively protect the lands that need protection, and to identify the parcels where we can steer development in more suitable places where there's infrastructure and the environment won't be compromised. So I think you come here not just to talk about Forest Road, but to talk about a larger partnership, a larger enterprise that we can work on together that I think can be truly beneficial here for this community.
I appreciate those comments, Mark. I think I think we're at a point as a conservation community where we have to realize that the situation we're operating in has fundamentally changed from elements that drove our community effectively to do a lot of good work over the last several decades. There's this confluence of scarcity of land, profit-making opportunity, and a government push that is putting a thumb on the scale, that is making it harder for local control, and accelerating permitting and making it harder for people to engage and interact with the regulatory. But these things are all radically different from what we've all grown up, the system we've all grown up in. And we as a conservation community better wake up and see how the landscape's changed, pardon the pun, if we want to be effective in securing protections for the portions of the land that needs to be protected. We continue to do the same stuff in light of new threats and new efforts to grab that land while we can. We will be disappointed with the results. So you're right, this really is a much larger context discussion. And to have a select board such as yourselves that are openly engaging and welcoming and having that discussion is a really positive thing. And we look forward to working with you in any way we can. At these levels, work with the Housing Authority, work with Bob and his staff to help come up with a Yarmouth-specific plan. And we will continue to engage and train people that we work with on the private side to have your backs as we move forward with this, so that the risk is in not putting conservation forward. The risk is in not putting that before your voters. And they have an expectation, and not to sound Nixonian about it, but there is a significant silent majority that we feel we've tapped into that wants to see the Cape do more on conservation.
And I appreciate that. I think, and we have, I believe, an obligation to present the facts to the voters, give them the opportunity to make a decision whether they want an area conserved and protected, in perpetuity for future generations. Or if they don't, they can make that decision as well. But
those of us who sat on your side of the table know full well, you ask your people at town meeting a question and they don't like it, they'll tell you no.
Exactly.
No. But you got to give them the chance.
No,
give them the choice.
Right.
I get the chance to tell you one way or the other.
I believe as a select board, that's fundamentally our responsibility. And given the way you sort of laid out, the way the rules have changed and the way things are going, I think it's incumbent on us to be aggressive in that now. So that's the big picture and the need to collaborate together on that. I appreciate that. But with respect to Forest Road, Madam Chair, I think that, and I'd like to make a motion, if that's okay, that we move to call to join again, once again in our opposition to the project, but call on the Housing Authority to withdraw the RFP, and that we engage the services of council, whether it's special counsel or our own town council, to examine and evaluate the options that are available to us as a town, as a municipality, as a select board, and all of the various departments and regulatory authorities that we oversee, to see what steps we can take to prevent this project from going forward.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much, Andy, for being here.
Thank
Good
you
to
all.
see you as well. I appreciate your comments. We look forward to working with you in the future. Next, we have our hearing for the classification of an annual seasonal Freebird Motor Lodge, 553. Is anybody here from a Freebird Motor Lodge? Okay,
I see that guy.
I'm going to read the public notice and open the hearing. The Town of Yarmouth Select Board, ABCC Amendment Change of Classification Hearing. The Yarmouth Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority, has received an application for an amendment change for the ABCC license classification from Shrim Inc., DBA Freebird Motor Lodge, represented by Jackson Christian Esquire. Folks, we're still in the middle of a meeting here, so if you could take your conversations outside, that'd be great. Esquire, 553 Route 28, West Yarmouth, Mass. 02673, from annual to seasonal. The hearing will be held on Tuesday, August 25th, 2026, in the hearing room at Yarmouth Town Hall, 1146 Route 28. South Yarmouth Select Board meeting begins at 6 p.m. Written comments will be accepted until 4:30 p.m. Friday, August 21st, 2026, in the Select Board's office at Town Hall, or can be submitted electronically to public comment at yarmouth.ma.us. Verbal comments will be accepted at the hearing. I don't think I'm overly concerned that they're not here, because what they're requesting is a reduction, nothing too Nothing too crazy here. They're asking to reduce their license from year-round to seasonal, so,
You opening the hearing.
which is appropriate. And usually we would let them speak, but they're not here to speak. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak either for or against this application as presented?
Don't see anyone on Zoom.
Seeing nobody in the public that would like to make a comment, I will take a motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody from the board have any comments or questions on the application?
No.
Would anybody like to make a motion to
I make a
support?
motion that we change the classification for the Freebird Motor Lodge from annual to seasonal.
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Next, we have a special entertainment license for Kylie Owens Art Show, 189 Center Street in Yarmouthport. Hi, good evening. How are you?
For having me. I'm well. How are all of you?
I'm well as well. So we do have one, I'm gonna read the notice into the record. So this is a beer and wine license. The Town of Yarmouth Select Board, special alcohol and entertainment license hearing. The Yarmouth Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority, has received an application from Kylie Owen for a special alcohol, wine, and malt-only license and a special entertainment license for an art show and sale that will take place at 189 Center Street in Yarmouthport on September 12th, 2026, from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Rain date is Saturday, September 19th, 2026. Same time?
Yes.
Beer and wine, along with light snacks, will be provided guests as they mingle and take part in artists' work. The general public is invited to attend. Admission and parking is free. The public hearing will be held at Yarmouth Town Hall, 1146 Route 28, South Yarmouth, Mass. On August 25th, 2026. The select board meeting begins at 6 p.m. Written comments will be accepted until 4:30 p.m. on August 21st, 2026, in the select board's office at Town Hall, or can be submitted electronically to public comment at yarmouth.ma.us. Verbal comments will be accepted at the hearing. Before you begin, we do have one public comment from a neighbor that lives nearby, and they wholeheartedly support and welcome the overflow parking in the field behind their house that abuts 189 Center Street. We completely support allowing this event to take place. That's from Carol and Jim Connolly. All right, with that, Ms. Owen, I will let you talk about what you've asked for today and tell us a little bit about your event.
Yes, absolutely. Well, my mother and sister are very talented artists, and my mom has lived on Long Pond Drive for the last 7 years and has taken a lot of inspiration from the landscape that we live on. My aunt, Kelly McGuill, has moved into 189 Center Street as of about 2 years ago, and she has spent a lot of time really updating and preserving her historic home in Yarmouthport. So we saw an opportunity to utilize, my mother and my sister's art and my aunt's amazing location, this beautiful barn that she has, and bring together the community for a nice event kind of post-summer where things are kind of winding down, but the weather's still nice. People are looking for something to do. We thought, why not bring them together to look at some beautiful pieces of work. At the event, we would love to have a small bar area just to serve wine and beer as well as just non-alcoholic seltzers, as you would at any kind of professional gallery event. I don't know if you have ever attended one of the Cape Cod Cultural Center events. They have some really lovely galleries and art shows, and often they will have a very similar setup where you can go and grab a nice cold glass of Pinot Grigio, walk around, see some beautiful things, and head home. So that is really what I am aiming to get permission for today, to host this event for the special entertainment license and to be able to serve alcohol from 1 to 6 p.m. On site for free. We will not be charging for admission or for the alcohol.
Okay. Thank you very much. I see you have somebody that's tips trained. Can you just tell me a little bit on how you plan on handling the alcohol? So, our job is to make sure it doesn't get into the hands of a minor. So I just want to hear about your storage, how you're going to bring it to the site, remove it from the site, make sure it's maintained, make sure that again, an alcohol, that people aren't overserved and that it doesn't get into the hands of a minor.
Absolutely. That's a concern of ours as well. So it's a small event. This is something that I'm running myself personally, with the help of some friends. But with that said, it's going to be me picking up the alcohol, bringing it to the site, and having it stored away in the barn, locked away in the barn. I have a nice solid padlock for when we need to store it there before the event. And then we do have a TIPS certified bartender, Gabriel Longtine, who will be there. He's very professional. I plan to monitor that myself as well. My TIP certification has lapsed, so I won't be serving any of the alcohol, but I will certainly be monitoring to make sure that he is appropriately checking ID as people are approaching, and that no one is overserved, and also no one is taking alcohol off property. I'm planning to have some stanchions to mark and signage to say, no alcohol beyond this point, and just making sure that I'm really on top of that. That's going to be my main priority day of.
Those art shows get wild.
They really do. Those artists know how to throw it back.
They do. All right. Do we have anybody who would like to make a comment or a question from anybody in the public about this application?
Madam Chair, I move we close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Does anybody from the board have any questions, comments, or?
It sounds lovely and it sounds thoroughly organized.
Does all the paperwork's in order? Thank to Amy.
Yes, I would love on the record to say a huge thank you to Amy, who has been very helpful in helping me navigate this process, which is completely new to me.
Nice.
It's my first board meeting, and I have to say it's been lovely as well to see how passionate the citizens of South Yarmouth are as well. I'm very happy to be living here and very grateful to be able to put on this event.
Well,
So
I'm
thank
glad
you.
that you're here tonight and participating in local government. So with that, is there a motion to?
Move that we accept the special alcohol and entertainment license for Kelly Owen Art Show at 189 Center Street.
Okay, as applied, no changes in that, okay. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you and very good luck to you and.
Very much. See you
Maybe
then.
I'll swing by and
Yes,
see some.
please, everyone is welcome.
Location.
All right. Thank you. Okay, next we have our, an update from Susan Warner, which is our Assembly of Delegates representative that elected from Yarmouth.
Okay.
Good evening.
Great, okay.
Good evening. Welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. It's always great for the people at home to put a face to who they vote for. We were fortunate to have Suzanne for so many years, who came probably once a month or so to update us on what was going on with the county, and we get to see her face. But she was a staple here at this board previous to that. So we thank you for your service. We appreciate all that you do, and we just kind of wanted to get some updates. We had. I don't think it's a surprise. We had been following what was going on at the county with the transfer tax, and you're meeting about it, and just we'd like to have an open dialogue with our elected officials at every level, whether it's the county, the state, just so we can touch base sometimes. About how we're thinking about things and how you're thinking about things. Obviously, you're an independent person to do how you feel, which you do. But I think we have a good sense here of the public. We get a lot of feedback. I'm sure you do too when you're out and about. But we have our own constituents that we represent that have strong feelings on a lot of the things that you guys take up. So with that, I'm just going to allow you the opportunity to talk about some of the things that are going on at the Assembly, and just kind of use it as a opportunity to really speak to the public about their county government and you as their representative. So I appreciate that.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're going to have to speak into the microphone so the people at home can hear you.
Thank
You're going to have to pull it closer. Thank you. It's on. The green light's on. You just have to get close to it.
Thank you for inviting me. I know that there were some questions that initially when we had our email exchange about the transfer tax that you had, that I certainly do want to get into and bring you up to date on.
Just so you know, too, that wasn't on behalf of the board. That was my personal
no,
email.
I
I just
understand.
want to make sure I
understand.
clarified that. I think I did in the email. I don't ever speak for the board without permission.
And also, so there's basically three basic things I want to try to go over quickly today. And one is the transfer tax. One is a new ordinance request that came in about 2 months ago, which is currently in committee for a tax that would be permitted by the state legislator on homes, second homes, where people do not spend the much of their time actually in the area. And it's got we have it in 2 different committees, and they're looking at the details of what was proposed and how that would look. And we're doing it differently than we did the other transfer tax. And then the last thing, of course, is the upcoming election on the charter. And I just wanted to provide some information that you can pass along to your constituents and where they can find details about it and understand that both the executive branch and the legislative branch are working hand in hand to try to provide the information out there for the people to be able to make an informed decision about what to do. And in fact, at the last meeting we had on Wednesday, we actually went over a resolution that basically puts it in the hands of the voters. I mean, this is where it is now, and it's up to them to decide what they want to do. And we're inviting them to make an informed decision by looking at the materials that are available on the website. They're on the first bar, far to the right. It's right there. It says Charter Review Materials. And we're also recommending that they kind of look at the thing and the information provided and read it so that they see what the structure of the current government is and how, if they had a choice, how that might be something different, and examine the cost and time necessary to create an elected charter commission and to vote either affirmatively or negatively. We are not the Assembly itself is not making a recommended point of view on what people should do. We're simply giving them information, as are the executive's branch, of how they can find out what they want and how they can do it. So that just kind of happened. But let me go back to just the charter. Yes, so that there's good information, and we're constantly updating it. So, and of course, if there are questions, they certainly can call any one of us, and we'll, if we don't have the answer, we'll get the answer for them.
So that's capecod.gov.
Right.
Is the website that people would go to find that information.
Right, and on the banner right across, there is a charter review subset that you click on, and that's where all the information regarding charter review is.
I just want the people at home to know. We have it here in our packet, the information, but I just want to make sure the people at home have it as well.
Okay, yeah. So let's go back to the transfer tax that was sent to the state legislature in February. That probably was in the Assembly for about a year, and there was quite a number of committee meetings with information that was posted from those meetings. There were several public hearings, and there were, in the beginning, there were a number of meetings that took place all across the region by the standing committee who presented the proposal to us. they wanted to try a different approach to some of the ways in which we look at some of these issues. And in the end, we discovered that it really wasn't the best way to do it, because it, I think, confused people more, because people would say, well, you're imposing a tax on us. Well, we don't, we can't. Only the state legislature can do that. And there was a lot of confusion, and trying to get that straightened out became very difficult. And in the middle of that process, or about 2/3 into that process, the speaker actually left unexpectedly, and I was elected speaker, and so I had about a third of the year to try to redirect it, which I did what I thought was the right thing at the moment. There was a lot of people who wanted it, and there were a lot of people who didn't want it. It ended up being a hot button issue, which I'm not sure that people really recognize that that's how it would be looked at, because the actual execution of it, in the end, gives each town the opportunity to elect whether they want to participate or not. I mean, it may have gone to the state legislature to look at in the format that it's in, and the number of recommendations and how it should be executed. But if the town itself says, no, we don't want to do it, then, or it's voted out at a town meeting, then it's not done. It's not automatic. That was, in my point of view, was the way that it seemed to be fair to everybody, because some towns really want it, and some towns were not so eager to participate in it, and this gave them the option. If they didn't participate, then they wouldn't collect the monies. That money wouldn't come in that was to be charged for their community, so there would be no income off of that went back to the community, because they weren't participating in the process. At this point, I'm advised that it is in the hearing stack up at the state legislature. I've been given no information about when they might get to it, except that it's not going to be soon, and that it probably will be combined with some other things that other communities are looking to do that might be linked to the same kind of information. And in fact, it could, if the current ordinance that's being looked at about those who do not live here full-time actually goes through, they might consider combining some of that information together, because doing both would probably not be in the right step. But at this point, that's kind of where we are. Is there anything that you feel that might... No?
Just a pretty face, huh?
Okay, so, and then the... let's see.
Health and Human Services.
The last one that's in review now is the government petition to fund year-round housing by a transfer tax on the high value. Is that, no, that's the other one. I just want to give you the right. Nope. I don't.
So yeah, we have the petition for a year-round housing and via the transfer tax. In our packet, we have the Standing Committee on Health and Human Service report that you had provided to us.
Which is also on the transfer tax.
And we have the Standing Committee from August 12th. Oral report in the minutes. And then we have the home rule petition number 1, also for the high value real estate tax.
We've got a lot.
Petition number 2.
Yeah, and they're both the same.
Oh, this is it. Here it is. It's the. It seeks to establish a regional year-round mortgage assistance program surcharge, and that it would be based on those persons who don't live here full-time, who have a second home here, but are not occupying their homes during that period of time. And that particular ordinance that came in to the Assembly has recently been passed by New York City and also by Rhode Island, and has apparently received some early good reviews about how it's working. So, of course, we want to get as much information from both of those communities on exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it. And
May I interject, Madam Chair? Sure. Is it, so that sort of sounds like the residential exemption that is in the favor of the taxpayer who is a resident?
This is,
I know it's a different, but it sounds like it's going at the same end. You're trying to reward the resident and to some degree penalize or take advantage of the ability of the non-resident to pay a better share of the cost of taking care of the environment and
Paying for all those alarms that go off that have to be answered while they're gone.
Just a different approach to.
Well, as you are aware, the income into the county has a limited resource in order to have the monies that runs all the things that the county does for the different communities. And so there is always, you're always trying to find another way that you might be able to bring in some additional income to allow you to do some other things. One of the
We're aware of that at the town level.
What's that?
We're aware of that at the municipal level, yes.
And there are a lot of programs that exist that are in the county that are really, really excellent and have gotten really favorable reviews over the many, many years that they've been there. And we've recently begun to adjust those. For example, like the dredge program, which 14 out of the 15 towns take advantage of. We charge a fee that is substantially less than a commercial fee, and it's primarily to cover our expenses, which we learned after we took a hard look at those that we weren't doing. So we're trying to now work with the communities and the board of this group to make it work in a way that benefits us and to benefit them. We're not trying to, we just want to cover the expenses. And there were things like we never really charged appropriately for going out to a site and getting it set up and then breaking it down and coming back. We just didn't include that. Well, that we realized, you could take days and you have all these people on site doing this stuff, and you're not leveraging the income in, so you can do that. So, but there is an effort now to look at all the programs we offer and see if any of them no longer have a substantial use to the communities, and if so, what might the communities think would be a better way for us to regionally assist them in a way that would give them better support. I think that every once in a while you have to take a deep dive into what you're doing and really look at, can you sustain it the way you're running it? And I think that it's important that you take the honest step at looking at it and not debate over, well, who gets what and stuff, but come up with an answer that really looks at what would be the best service to the whole region and how would it best benefit the municipalities. And making sure that that information is properly disseminated. So,
it's great. I think the zero-based budgeting is a practice that we used to do, or what was our goal at one point in time, and just really doing an analysis of all the programs. I think that's great that the county does that, because there's a lot of services. We used to have the county administrator that would come here annually, who would give us our report for the town, how much we paid in, and all the services that we got for that money. And that was always a great meeting to see. You guys do a lot of great work around, like the mosquito control, I believe, is still kind of funded by the county. I'm not sure if that's the state, moved to the state now, but we had Children's Cove A lot of-
Septage loan.
Yeah, the septage loan is great, and that you've expanded that also to include hookups for sewers, if I'm understanding correctly. You know, a lot of great things, because as you know, each individual town, sometimes we're small enough that we don't have a program that we can sustain on our own, but, you know, when you put a bunch of communities together, it seems to work out. So we're fortunate for a lot of that work. And I know I said in my email, and it's true, my feeling about any taxes, I'm never jazzed about a new tax, ever. So, you know, I'd be hard pressed to support any of them. But what we talked about with housing here, you know, we've had our conversations about, you know, what Liz talked about, the carrot, right? We like to find ways to incentivize things instead of taxing, right? What we're trying to do is find ways for people to utilize, or to not, you know, maybe rent their house for 2 weeks of the year or 3 weeks of the year and not use it at all. You know, if we could find a way to incentivize them to, you know, rent year-round, that would be a benefit without taxing.
Yeah.
Just different things like that. I did watch your meeting about the transfer tax, and I felt like through that process, through that meeting, you know, a lot of the things that you came up with at the end that you ultimately included, you know, having local control, I think was something that was changed throughout that process, that towns can opt in. Again, I'm never jazzed about a local tax, but I think, you know, putting it to the people is better. You know, we look at $1 million home now. I don't consider that a luxury tax. So that was something else that you put in there as a parameter, that towns can set their own right number
Limits.
where they want to start it, which I think is also
Smart.
something that, you know, the people would be interested in. You know, so there's a lot. It's hard because the county, you know, you put these bills or resolutions up to the state, but ultimately it's just like us, right? We make votes, not a home rule petition vote, that's a little bit different, but, you know, we send letters either supporting or not supporting different bills. They can take them or leave them, right? You know, like, we don't know what, with any of these bills, when they get up there, what the legislature's going to do with them. They can take out, you know, the things that you put into your framework, they don't have to accept as part of it. So that's kind of like a little bit of the scary part, right? Like, you put it up there, say, well, this is what we'd like to see, but they can do with the bills what they want, and we may lose that ability to have local control. We don't know. With a lot of the things that are going on up there now, and the bills to push the housing, it's a little bit scary that, you know, hopefully they'll take some local comments into effect, but ultimately, we don't know. You know, it's kind of, like I said, it's a little scary. But Liz, do you have any questions?
No, I really appreciate your coming in, Susan. Thanks, Olin.
Pleasure.
And I'm hoping that you will come more often now, and maybe once a month, and just keep us,
Refreshment.
keep us.
You know, I know that you're so busy, and you know, there's lots of stuff that we get involved with that doesn't probably have much interest for, you know, the whole scheme of things. But there are things that take a little time and that go through a process, so I definitely will try to work that out a little differently than I did in the last.
And I suppose even just an
Suzanne
update.
used to just come in public comment. You know, she with nothing formal. She would just come, because that way, I think a lot of the local people that watch these meetings,
You wouldn't want to stay for hours for the whole meeting.
no, it doesn't have to be anything formal, but she'd say, you know, here, we're getting ready to consider this at our upcoming agenda, and people would reach out to her, and that was a great way for her to engage the public and make sure that, you know, she was doing it very publicly and everybody knew what was happening. You know, oftentimes we don't know until, you know, there was a big hoopla about that, so we heard about that, but on the day-to-day, you know, sometimes we don't know, so it's good to just, you know, poke your head in and say, hey, I'm Susan Warner, I'm your representative, here's what we're talking about, you know, if you have any questions, reach out, or however you want to do it, but it's just a great it's just a great way, and it doesn't have to be anything formal, but we would love for you to be able to share those things with the public in advance of you taking those votes, so that way you get some feedback.
Yeah, I understand that, and I definitely will improve that in the next group, in the next, if I'm elected.
Next critical issue, yeah.
Liz, did you have
No,
anything?
I don't have anything else. Thank you very much for coming in.
And I have one question. Are you still getting the report from the administrator once a year?
I'm not sure if we've got it in a while.
I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I think it's been I think Jack was the last one who was here, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, does anybody else?
I'll check with Michael and see if
Okay.
if they can do that or they have done that.
I'm sure they've sent it,
Yeah,
but
'cause
we used to
that would
actually
be
have
helpful
them.
to know, what are the services you're getting and what.
Yeah.
I think it's public. It's on the website. It's just
When we do our report, we'll do a release behind it and get that information out. But I can check with Michael to make sure that the report, will get out. We also do regular newsletters too, as well, to talk about some of the county initiatives and the county work. And I just want to say that I think, as I think you're hearing from the board members, you're welcome anytime.
Thank
All
you.
right.
I appreciate that.
we appreciate your judicious use of our time, but it's always good to see you.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Oh,
Well, we have to go down the whole line here. You got to hear from everybody.
I'd just like to say I appreciate all the attention you've been paying to housing, because that's such a critical issue, but it intersects with almost everything else, like economic development and environmental protection. And I think it's wonderful that we have the county as an ally, given that we're different little municipalities, to try to explain sometimes up in Boston how that won't work on the Cape because it's different. I mean, my big point of relief with our packet was to find out that, like, the whole tiny house by right thing, it was okay if Yarmouth allowed the tiny houses by right but had them fixed in the land. Apparently, a possibility would have been in the legislation that was proposed to have them on wheels. And I just pictured that like Snoopy, the doghouse, wheels running down Route 28. And so, I mean, it's such a help to have more people to try to explain what this region needs. Thank you so much.
I think it's important. I think it's an issue that we all need to try to work together to get resolved. And we had waited over a year for the Cape Cod Commission review of what they found as ways that we might do it, and looked at what's in here could we possibly jump in on and try to push forward. So because we all benefit by that, and we have to keep the young people here, and we have to keep the houses in the way that people can afford. It's just it's wild.
Susan, thank you very much for coming today. And believe me, the door's open. Come on back anytime you'd like.
Okay, thank you, Dorcas. I
Mark, did you have anything else you wanted to
And,
add?
I'm fine, thanks.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you very much.
I just want to say thank you very much. We appreciate your updates. As been said, come back and give updates as often as you can, and just we like to make sure that the public is aware of what's going on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to Owen as well.
All right. Our next item is, there's a memorandum in our packet for the disbanding of the Drive-In Site Utilization Committee. And, I don't think it's, anytime you say disband, it sounds bad, but they've done yeoman's work. We have accoladed them like crazy. And we're so grateful at the long term, like it was pointed out to me today, just the decades of work some of these people spent doing it. And now we have a wonderful park there. And did you want to say anything about the memo, Bob? Or, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Well, it is self-explanatory, and I think it comes along with great thanks for the committee. I mean, the work has gone on so hard for so many years, and they do hope to have their disbanding, which they have requested, subject to one final meeting, so they can approve their minutes.
May I make a motion, or Dorcas, you're
Does
about to
anybody have any
go for it.
questions on this?
I just make a motion that we disband the committee with the great thanks for their
Great
hard work.
thanks.
And the ability to have a final.
And the ability to have
Typically,
one
once
last.
we accept a resignation or disbanding, which would be similar to a resignation, that they no longer have that authority. So I'm not sure how you craft that, Bob. Would you know when their final date is?
It just should be subject to one final meeting to approve outstanding meeting
Okay.
notes, so they can set that at their
Is
convenience.
that's your motion? Okay.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All those
Just
in-
like to say they've replaced it with something better. I was going to whine a couple years ago about, why don't we still have a drive-in? But I'm good. That park is spectacular.
All right.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you for your hard work. Next, we have the disbanding of the library committee.
Building committee.
Library Building Committee.
Correct. And there's a memo in your packet about what their mission was. Their mission is complete.
I don't think they even need another meeting. I move that we disband the Library Building Committee with our thanks for their hard work.
And I would just, I'll let it
Second
go
to the
forward.
motion?
And I have a comment.
Does anybody want to second the motion? I'll second the
second.
motion. Go ahead.
So I did notice that the charge directs that they continue through the design phase and into the construction phase until the issuance of an occupancy permit.
It's not going to happen, so.
No. So perhaps the motion should be to accept that the charge has been,
Why don't you disband the
No,
committee? The
disband
charge
it,
is
we just
entirely.
Even if they
dispensed
haven't-
of. We're dispensing of the charge of
Okay.
the committee because we're getting rid of the whole committee.
all right, so they didn't
I
need
think
to
that
meet
that's
it.
fine.
Okay, then I'll make a motion that we disband the.
We already have a
Second.
motion and a second on the floor.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we have our naming policy. We have the draft before us. Bob, you have any
Revised-
updates on that? Oh, I
We've
know
had
there
the
was a-
revised draft, and we made it clearer, and the sections in the back have a process that's outlined, and it is clear that the Select Board may hold a hearing and may authorize different surveys, but it's not required to, and that the policy is a guide. So we've incorporated all of the changes that were discussed at the previous meeting.
Excellent. Does anybody have any questions on that? Anybody want to make a?
I have a question, of course, Tracy.
Sure.
I noted that when the naming policy from 2008 was included, and number 5, and I'll read it because the people don't have it in front of them, should be noted that if a particular parcel or building has already been named, there is an option for a department or division to consider naming rights for a portion of the already named structure or land if the naming of such a section of an already named structure or land is appropriate in the opinion of the department or division. It seems like that is no longer going to be supported because we're very clear that the final decision on the naming of any property,
Select Board.
yeah. So,
Although we discussed that and wrapped it into the new proposal so that the board can still get recommendations from departments
Okay.
and boards.
Good.
And they can cover a particular property or a portion of the property, so that's up to the
Very
board's
good.
discretion.
good.
Great. Any other questions, comments? Is there a motion to approve?
Move that we approve the naming public property naming policy.
Second?
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. All right, approval of select board goals. Woo! I'm catching up, y'all.
Yay!
We're now matching.
We're early. All right. So, our goals. Bob has drafted nice priority goals based on our meeting that we had, and we heard a few comments tonight about things that, there was some public comment about an open space plan from Christine. There was
7, she said number 7, I
Right.
believe.
6.
6?
Yep, number 6. I wonder not if anybody had any thoughts on that.
I feel like it's almost I don't feel like it needs to be said, because it's been a goal, it was a goal, it's a part of the blood and business of the town at this point.
Where is it, the open space piece, the conservation, we talked about that today too. Just want to make sure that somewhere in here it touches on, did we?
Remember, we got a letter about.
I think it's, I don't know.
I'm just wondering if, I know Liz talks a lot about our plan,
And that's in one.
right, and so to me, there's so many pieces that we can't incorporate everything into
That's the
here,
way I
but
feel.
the fact that it points to that kind of gives you a better sense of really what the priorities are overall. You could never, we as a board need to set direction for our town for the year, okay? There's so many things in that plan that we can't, making goals that are unachievable, that's what that would be.
Right, it's
so-
more of the vision.
So we need to give basically staff and Bob direction to put some of the high priorities. Everything's important that's in there, but we really need to identify, like, within the next year, what are the items that we want to be successful on. I've been here a long time. We used to have a whole diatribe of items, and yes, they're all important, but realistically, they're not goals, because you can't achieve them all in our organization in 1 year. So what we need to do is narrow it down so that an action plan can be put forth and that staff can follow it and achieve some of it, so.
Could, if I might ask, Bob, have you shared this with the staff?
Not yet. Our process is that when
Approve it first?
when the board approves it, then we push it right into the staff, and we have a lot of meetings about it.
I think that's a great question, though, Dorcas, because sometimes, like.
That feedback might be
Yeah,
interesting.
and I think that, perhaps, Bob, and I don't know if we've ever done this before, but, leading from here, sometimes you don't see it the same way that our staff does, right? And I would be supportive of adopting these priorities and you having that meeting, and if there's anything that comes to it, I think that we should be amenable and open-minded to potentially relook at it, to incorporate some things that we have
It's
missed.
fascinating that you said that, because one of the things that was uppermost in my mind is one of the goals included in here, in terms of the staff retention type of issues, is to actively solicit ideas and have a two-way communications. And I think around the goals is a great opportunity to try to get some feedback on the goals, and we can hone these down, incorporate this information into the next round, but to make it that kind of, and it helps internalize the goals for departments too, so I appreciate that.
Is the board okay with that, if we set that?
Highly support it. Highly support it. As I used to say to my staff all the time, you're the ones that do it day to day, not me.
Exactly.
I have a
You're
couple
the
of,
expert, not me.
sorry.
Okay.
I had a couple of notes.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so, on number 2, on the after the colon, it says, move forward with the development of a public wastewater treatment system. Probably should say, continue to move forward?
Item 2.
Bob sees it. It's at the very bottom of page 1.
Move forward with the development.
Yeah.
It's almost like not giving ourselves credit for thinking of
Exactly.
it previously.
And then on page 2, under the Phase 1 wastewater program, number C, or letter C, the select board will focus on policy issues.
That's still, I think that's still relevant, though, because that's talking about around wastewater, there's, as things come up, and, we talk about growth.
Fine. Yeah.
I'm just talking about, there's some decisions that will need to be made when we go live, right, on zoning and all sorts of issues around it, so.
That's
I
fine.
think that stays
I
relevant.
wondered what it meant. It sounded like, but of course we would be.
Right, but not, what the board wanted to reserve the policy decisions, get the regular updates, but there's a project manager on that handles the day-to-day construction details, things of that
That's
nature.
fine. Then on number 5, it was mentioned today by Tom Nicanello, we might want to, this is about staff retention, we might want to, he said something about respect our volunteers or appreciate our
I
volunteers.
agree with him. I'm sad that people don't feel that we do, but, I mean, we're so grateful for their work, and I'm not sure where it fits in. His
Maybe,
comment
yeah.
about all the work that's done is really
Yeah.
by volunteers. It's true to a lot, to a large extent. Not all of it. Our staff is wonderful, but I don't see it fitting in with staff retention, because I look at that as paid
Yeah.
staff.
Yeah.
I do think
It
that.
is different.
It's almost
but-
like with
Yeah.
contracts and stuff as
Yeah,
well.
I feel like the.
In our
the piece-
communications, maybe, we should make that one of our
Make it just-
communications.
Or just one goal that is that we appreciate and foster our volunteerism in the town.
Make it its own goal.
Make it its own.
Sure.
Joyce has started a great program of trying to generate interest in the different committees and so forth.
Number 11.
We could,
Foster.
if communications had room for it, we could do a kind of committee of the month, look at that committee, then, another month do a different committee, that kind of recognition.
I think just
I
sometimes
think
a pat on the
more
back
about what we
will go-
could do.
Yeah.
I just put number 11, foster volunteer appreciation.
There you go. That covers a lot.
We don't need to get specific at this point. That's it. That's all I had.
All right.
I move
Anyone else
that
have
we-
any other comments? I think with those amendments, we can tentatively approve the goals and have Bob report back to us after a staff meeting for a final vote.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay, Joyce, take it.
Oh, no.
Wait.
Endorsement.
Oh, wait a minute, I was moving ahead. I checked
new
off.
hires.
Nice.
Do I get to
No wonder
appoint
why.
the head
I'm
of
trying to catch
IT?
up.
Apparently.
Would you like to be the head of IT? All right, Bob. So we have a
Okay.
memo here from Sarah. Tonight, we got to recognize Paul Chaffee, who had been the department head, and Bob has a recommendation here in a memorandum that I'll let you speak to, Bob.
Yes, thank you very much. And the first one we're going to talk about is my appointment of a new Director of Information Technology, Tim Hannaford. And I just want to say a little bit about the process. When we have all of these key positions, I always enjoy having a panel of some of our professionals to assist departments that work with us directly. And in this case, I involved Paul Chaffee. Also, Police Chief Kevin Lennon, who you wouldn't think, but is a power user of technology over in the police department with what they do. And also Sarah O'Reilly, our Director of Human Resources, and I thought we had a great team. We had a very rigorous recruitment process. There were a lot of applicants for this. And I just have to tell you, I'm particularly enthusiastic about recommending Tim Hannaford, and a couple of reasons. I mean, he's got 25-plus years' experience as an IT person. But what really impressed me, and discussing the details of this, he spent very recently 5.5 years as the IT director of a county in Ohio. Happens to be Trumbull County. There's a population there of over 200,000 people. And they have departments, it's big county government in that area of the country. There's over 1,700 employees for that county. And they included wide-ranging IT needs that he had to manage. And some of them were very difficult. And just a little anecdote is that something that we don't have, and quite thankfully, but I thought it demonstrated some of the work, similar to what Paul had to do with working with some of the departments. They have a court system as part of their county government. And 12 administrative law judges that all were having tremendous problems with the IT. And when he got there, one of the big projects, we had to sit down with each individual judge and inventory all of their concerns. And they're a very demanding group. And he relayed that story. And I just appreciated how he was able to interview these people, get the needs, work with all of the different departments and the private companies to put together a program that enhanced the IT for, the administrative law judges. And that's just one example. He's highly qualified and has agreed to come to Cape Cod. And so I'm delighted and enthusiastic in making that appointment.
Is there any I see he's from Ohio. Was there a reason that he chose Yarmouth and is willing to move to Yarmouth?
So, some of his reasons are personal, and with his family life, his significant other is a Massachusetts person who had moved out to the Midwest, and, they're looking to relocate, and she had a love for Massachusetts, and that led them to explore opportunities here. And then when the Cape opened up, I think, we're pretty famous for being an area that is, very desirable. So he saw this, and when he came out and met us, he really enjoyed it, and it was great. When he came to the second interview, he was telling me how he spent 10 hours doing this the other day and 10 hours just exploring our community. And they liked what he saw, and so he was enthusiastic about it, and that led to, I think he's been able to find, some housing, things of that nature, and he's ready to roll.
That's what I was wondering. Great.
He was able to find some
Anybody have
housing?
any questions? Anybody
Yep.
want to make a motion?
Move that we endorse the appointment of IT Director Tim Hannaford.
To a second? Okay, any discussion on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And next, we have our Economic Development Program Manager,
And
Bob.
similarly, we had a great panel with this one, and I really want to single out Amy Frigiletti, Assistant Town Administrator, Megan Eldridge, our Community Development Director, and again, the ubiquitous Sarah O'Reilly, assisting from the HR end of it. Great team. What has we've seen a marked change in, spent the last few years since the pandemic very concerned, with a lot of our highly professional recruitments being able to attract the type of high-quality candidates that we expect to, for these types of positions. And we had even this very position interviewed a couple of years ago and had a dearth of candidates, and this one was enormously competitive. We had a large number of candidates, people with a lot of horsepower, a lot of experience, and the recommendation to me was for the appointment of Stephen T. Cole. Now, Stephen has, again, another over 20 years experience in doing this. He's been a director of planning and development. He's educated in the area of planning. He's served as an economic development director. And what is also very fascinating is he's currently the director of an economic development corporation in Plymouth. And it's very successful. They work very closely with the town to try to manage these projects, which is exactly what we've discussed doing. And to the extent that we're able to create some type of an economic development corporation that could work with us, do the things that towns don't do, perhaps get involved in like the property ownership piece and allow the town to do the town thing and do the planning. I think that would be a tremendous benefit, but I'll tell you, Mr. Cole possesses the qualifications and experience to really do a great job and to act independently, but as a team with us as well. So I think he'd be a very good addition to our staff, and he also comes very highly recommended.
I move we endorse the assignment of Stephen Cole as our Economic Development
Program Manager.
Program
Say
Manager.
assignment or appointment?
Assignment?
Is
No,
appointment.
appointment, I think.
Appointment, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we're getting-
Appointment. All right.
Getting long.
It's getting late.
All right, any discussion on that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you very much for your work on that, Bob. We are,
Thank you, Bob.
some of our key positions are finally, that position was open for over a
long
year.
time.
Yeah, right, so that's great. All right, go ahead, now you can take it away, Joyce.
Okay, thank you. Board and committee actions are a little slow right now. We had a flurry in July, and we expect a flurry in September. I'd like us to acknowledge the contributions of John Sarajan from the Board of Assessors, where he served for many years, and allow him to resign, but with our big thanks.
So moved.
Doc, we
Thank
appreciate you.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then I'd like us to accept the resignation with thanks of Christian Bova from the Conservation Commission. He served for a little over a year there and has been a valued member, and we appreciate his contribution.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right, so we have minutes of September 9th, 2025.
I move that we accept the minutes of September 9th, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? Any amendments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have the minutes in our packet of September 23rd, 2025.
Move that we accept the minutes of September 23rd, 2025.
Any discussion? Amendments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, upcoming agenda review. There were a few things in public comment, too.
Yeah, I think for the next meeting, the one public comment thing that I think we need to really bring up, Madam Chair, is the tree clearing. And we heard from a lot of people on that, and it would be good to get that on the agenda with some report from the appropriate town staff on what's going on and what can be done to either do something about it, mitigate it, and at the very least prevent something like that from happening again.
Yeah.
Mark, is that private developers? Is it utility or is it state government?
Train.
They have a right-of-way for the train tracks that we don't get to vote on, and the state, they give them the
Yeah.
authority to clear that right-of-way, and they've just taken their authority.
Carried away, yeah.
A lot of the things that the state does, we have zero. I mean, when I was sitting there, I was thinking about the station that they tried to put in over there by Camp Garino, and they basically, they really don't care about local opinion on
Not
any
at
of
all.
that. So I don't know what we can do about it, but certainly we could put it on as a discussion item.
Well, I think it would also be helpful to also, not just get briefed on it, but there are probably still some residents in town that want to speak and comment on it, and perhaps probe a little bit on some of the ideas that are being raised about what to do about it.
Would we ever
Not
want?
now, in the future.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were
I'm fine.
winding down. Oh, I was going to say, would we ever want to ask an officer from the
We did.
company that's doing this? I don't mean the companies that's doing the sawing, but the company that's ordering the sawing. And
It's the
and just-
DOT, Mass DOT.
We did, and didn't they respond?
I wonder
There was
if they
something
would.
that came through that said,
Yeah.
this is in our parameter, and this is something we have to do.
And we'd like to talk with you about it and indicate our concerns. You can,
I
you
wish.
can see I'm
I
such
think
a,
they
I'm such
forgot
an
the second
optimist.
page, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that didn't happen,
well.
but let's
about-
definitely put it on an upcoming agenda review. I'm not sure if we should put it on the 15th or the 29th, maybe the 29th, September 29th.
Give people time maybe to hear about it.
Hear about it and be able to come back and comment on it.
I mean, maybe we can get somebody from the state.
That would be great.
Okay, great.
And we can always work with our legislators, right? That's one of the things
Might
that
have
they
some.
generally do, is help us get the right person
There we
from
go.
the right agency to come in here.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion that if we don't get any satisfaction in terms of clarity, I mean, why not do our own home rule petition and change the rules as they relate to some of these areas?
Oh,
Right?
wow.
Give trees the vote.
Well, it's when you think about that area of the town, I think it's well within our aquifer protection district. I think it's there are designations there. It's also, think about it, it's within, believe it or not, it's within the old Kings Highway
Oh, for
district. So we may want to find at least.
Although we have no Old Kings Highway trees.
I understand.
no-
The point I'm getting at is it's been designated
Yeah.
as a special area.
Okay.
On numerous occasions. So we could certainly say that projects such as this that are done in this area or that area or these kinds of areas, or we can be even specific about the town of Yarmouth, we should at least get notice before any work begins and call on the agency to take public comment.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
All right.
Right?
We,
This is for the
Perfect.
trash train. that
Think
goes,
of the
what,
difference
5
that
miles
made
an
with
hour?
the bridges and the
I
bridge
know.
construction.
I know.
do we want to talk about that Summer Street gravel?
I think we need,
Yeah, that's a whole nother, that is something that we should talk about. So Bob did answer, and there is a very split, the people are very well aware, there's
yeah.
so much, there's half the people don't want it paved. So Bob said, basically, come to a consensus among yourself, And he had a petition, but I don't think those are all neighbors. He said some of them were neighbors.
No, and I think there's probably still a lot of folks from the original, I mean, granted, it was 25 years ago when this came up last.
It's a county road, isn't it? One of the only county roads?
It's an accepted town road. The old county roads are gone. They're all like town roads
If
now.
they're not gone, they're on their way out.
I want to say the last time this was brought up, we found out that it was a county road, and that was one of the only county roads left that we had no authority over.
Jurisdiction over.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to stick it to me, fine. I'm happy to do it as a county commissioner.
I knew it was somebody's
That's
fault.
fine. Yeah,
But we should look into it. Maybe we'll put it.
Could you take a robust look at that?
I will.
Wait, we'll put that on an upcoming
I'll wait to
agenda
hear what
too,
Bob's
just to get an
recommendation
update
is.
and see, All right.
I think that's it.
Madam Chair, I had
Tracy,
just
it's a good point. The county has taken up, we have actually voted at many of our meetings to discontinue
Oh,
county roads.
I don't know if it is, but if my memory serves me, that's what I remember about it last
But
time.
usually we require the town to tell us that they want that part of the county
Well, and
road.
that's the thing. I don't think that there
discontinued.
is consensus
Yeah.
amongst the people who live on it.
Right.
I have to say, I've heard people with an opposite point of view from what we heard today in the public comment.
Madam Chair, I just had a question with the upcoming items. We previously had Cape Light Compact for September 1st. Have we verified their appearance for the new date?
September 29?
Yeah.
I would think that
Yeah,
Mary
no, I'm
Alice-
sure that Mary Alice has worked personally with
Okay.
Margaret to set the date.
I've ran into the new administrator of
she
the
did.
compact at a memorial service today, and she didn't seem to know she was going to be coming to visit. But
I'm sure she
that's
doesn't.
just like, she might not have been in the office, she was at the memorial service, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, well, I know she'll definitely clarify before they put them on there if she hasn't already.
Okay.
All right. So, individual items. Liz.
Okay, where is it? You know I got them. This is tree removal. Little picayune about the website, but it seems to be hard to get to the primary ballot. So, some people have said, where is it? And I asked Mary, and she said, you have to go to the town clerk's page. But that's not intuitive. So people who are going onto the website are like, aren't we voting? Where's the vote? So and there's a sub-page. So I guess it needs to be looked at by IT again. And also, when we're talking about the goals, which we'll be posting once they're approved, it was noted that the goals don't seem to be up and visible from last year, and that they shouldn't disappear after a few months of being front and center. So those are a couple of website cleanups maybe that could take some attention. That's it.
I'd just like to say, I noticed the reporting done on this last select board meeting and was impressed to see us all sound so smart.
What?
It's a crafty
That
wordsmith.
Amy's-
That's a wordsmith for you. She's good.
Selectmen's
writing those?
Corner.
Yeah. Appreciate you doing that.
Thank you.
There are people that read that and will tell us. I get feedback at office hours exactly. Oh, they do. They do. And I've been getting the thanks. So thanks for doing that.
Chris, you have anything else?
Actually, I have, and if I can, I'll come back to you if you can.
I'm all set. Mark?
I'm all set, thank you.
Liz?
And knowing that we have somebody from Cape Light Compact, but do we know, Bob, what somebody's pulling together for Green Communities Grant? Because it's coming up, it closes in October. First week of October it closes. And I, for one, would like to know what we're going to do. And then there was also Sandy Pond, and do we have to do anything with Holden's Hope Playground?
No.
Yeah, okay.
No. Just remember that we just approved a
Yeah,
naming policy
naming
that says
policy.
that it's in the hands of the select board.
So they would
And it
send
is
us a
not within the
letter.
purview of the Recreation Commission.
So
to
they
be
should
naming
send
parks.
us a letter.
A member who thinks highly of a small child.
Well, actually, I had a talk with the chair this morning. They are
Resolved.
not going to be having a meeting in September, but they will be having a meeting in October. And Joyce and I have volunteered to go and, shall we say, just give them a little education.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Naming policy.
That's it.
No yawning.
Geez, we keeping you up out there, huh? Thank you. Boost.
All right, town administrator items, we got the consent agenda. On the consent agenda, we have an approval request for special alcohol license from the Great Island Homeowners Association for their clam bake. We have the approval of a request for the fire department regarding the bonfire permit for Yarmouth Seaside Festival. We have the reduced fee request from a different drummer craft fair for the use of Parker's River Landing. How come that's on the consent agenda? We haven't, I thought the consent agenda only went waivers that we have issued before.
It's a good point, because we haven't.
Request for.
They thought it was a minor request it's for the setup day only, not for the day of the event.
No, but we had the veterans person had to come here.
here.
I just want to, I just think we should be consistent. I thought
Okay,
it only went on
you
the
could- you
consent
could-
agenda when it was something we had.
You could bring
approved.
it, take it off, we'll bring them in.
Well, it's probably timely, but I would just prefer that if it's not.
Not till
something that-
May.
Okay, then, I don't know how, it's up to the board. What does the board feel about it?
I think that they should come in.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the veterans come in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll take that one off. We'll hold C. Approval request for proposed vista pruning at Thatcher Shore Road and approval of a resolution for a site readiness grant for Mattakey's Middle School redevelopment project. Does anybody want to make a motion
I
on the
move
consent
that we
agenda?
accept the consent agenda with one exception, which is removing number C.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. And I want to just make sure everybody is aware that Monday, August 31st at Smugglers Beach, we talked about it the last time, is the overdose awareness memorial that they hold every year. So August 31st, it's a Monday at 5:30 PM, Smugglers Beach at 220 South Street in South Yarmouth is our International Overdose Awareness Beach Memorial. So please attend and support those that have lost loved ones to overdose and, hear about some of the things that are going on in your community. And if you're struggling, there are a lot of resources there. They have tables set up for people, and they do a great service and have a lot of pictures there and family members of loved ones that have lost those to overdose. So, go ahead, Bob.
Okay, I've got a couple of items just to keep the board apprised of. The first one is our Worst Kept Secret of the Week award. I'm very happy to announce that the Bass River Boardwalk has been completely restored.
Yay.
It's back fully open.
Wonderful.
It's better than ever, so please make sure you get down there and check out the best sunset on Cape Cod. And if you don't believe that, we have the award hanging in the hallway.
Just gotta get around the trash can. It's a pet peeve of mine.
And I really need to give special thanks to our Department of Natural Resources and Director Dave Condon, as well as our Assistant Town Administrator Amy Frigiletti, Megan Eldridge, and the EDIC for the help with the funding, and also the procurement team and our contractor, AGM Marine. All their great work. I mean, it was yeoman's effort to get that done this summer. Amazing. So thank you, everyone.
Awesome.
It's good to be back in.
We're back, baby.
Back on track on that. And I wanted to let you know, where we stand with things. The budget process is already gearing up, and our capital budget deadline for departments was this past Friday. We're going to turn our efforts now to the capital review process, where I hope to have my preliminary recommendations over to the Capital Program Committee early in September. And again, Amy Frigiletti, special thanks for all her work in moving this process along. And we're also planning, I met with our finance director in anticipation that these goals would be adopted from the select board, and also the assessing department to begin the process of putting together a workshop on capital financing and projects we have lined up. So we're going to be moving ahead with that this fall as well. So you'll be hearing more about that. And I wanted to report to the board, I received some very positive feedback on our financial workshop that we conducted for the Finance Committee and the Capital Program Committee. It was a great opportunity to welcome some of our new members. We've got a lot of new members on both of those committees, but also to catch up with our experienced partners. I mean, there's a lot of wisdom, and talk about the volunteers, great volunteers on finance and capital. And by linking those, I think we did some team building with the new folks. And special thanks to Dorcas McGurran of the Select Board for representing the board at that and participating as well. It was great. So that we're going to try to do more of that type of work. And you know, it was nice to get a chance before we get into the rapid fire budget process and the review to do that team building and you know, spend a couple of hours with the different committees. I think everybody feels kind of on the same page, so that was good. And I wanted to let folks know an update. You know, we haven't talked about the blizzard. It's been so blazing hot.
Don't even say it out loud.
But you should be aware that there is a winter recovery assistance program that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has initiated through their Department of Transportation. And to date, the town has received approximately $400,000 in emergency storm funding from that winter recovery assistance program. Now, we are applying under the discretionary portion of that. It was split into two parts. There was the formula-based part where we received the $400,000. And then there is an extraordinary hardship funding program that we have applied for $600,000, which I think is the max that we're allowed to under that program, due to the extensive tree damages that we experience now. That's not going to cover all of our costs, but if we can get $1 million out of this program, it goes a long way. And so the DPW and Jeff Colby, my partners on this, they did a great job in the storm, and they're doing a great job on the follow-up. And I'll report to you how we make out on the other 600, but it'd be nice to get those funds in-house.
Sure would. That'd be awesome. Great. Thanks for your work on that, trying to recoup, because that was expensive.
And that's just a smattering of some of the key things we did in the past week.
Madam Chair, I move we adjourn.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.